Hank is usually the show stealer whenever
Without
he
question.
comes in the store. I mean,
Without
this
question.
dog is fantastic, but
You're sweet.
does some nice tricks and everything. I am sweet because he's not nice. He
No.
doesn't like me that much.
He's indifferent.
That's okay.
Is he an English bulldog?
Yeah.
I love English
I mean, just
bulldogs.
that's the epitome. He's almost so cliche. It's unbelievable.
He's just,
But he's a great dog, and Joe always comes in with a big smile on his face and loves the clothing, loves to dress sharp, and also likes to stay fit. Like probably one of the most fittest individuals that frequents our store, I would say without a doubt.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, I see you all
But-
over. I've seen you coaching people like from the parking lot right behind the building that you lived in down the Gulch, which your building, I found out by doing some research, it looks like you live in like a gym.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
I turned my studio into my gym. So all my people come to my place and we do all private sessions in my studio, or we'll take it out to the park and we'll go play out at the park. But it's a really great setup.
When you say studio, that like studio apartment, like where you live?
Yeah, it's like
you
a
actually
vaulted
live
loft. It's just glass. It's got glass walls, and then so I just have there's a big open space, much like this, and
Yeah.
so I just made the living room into my studio, into my studio, and from there, my clients love it. It's nice. I don't miss the commute at all from like a real job. So I love getting to do it in my house. It's great, and it's a great setup. It really is.
And it's right down in the Gulf.
Yeah,
It's right behind
now.
Tool Hippies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right behind Tool Hippies.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a great little spot. The loft right behind. There's a bunch of the lofts down there,
Yeah.
but you have get comfortable, however you want to make it comfortable.
There you go.
Want to do, but no, he's got this great spot, and I was even saying because now it's one of the things we can do here too. Is I'm going to try to pull up a little bit of what you got going on.
Thank you.
Try to show everybody that's pulling up, but let me at least pull up this right here, so I can pull up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that
That's shown
fun?
on our page.
There it is.
Now it is.
What?
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh
Look at that.
man.
There you go.
Oh man, that dude. Yeah.
Look at that guy.
Look at those people.
That's right.
So
You got and dude, your testimonials are off the chain. So okay, so you've lived in Nashville now for like what you were saying 7 or 8 years, right?
Yep.
And then but you train people like out in L.A. So you lived in L.A. for a little while too.
I did. I lived in Venice Beach before I came here.
That's a good place to live if you want to try to get
There's a
people
lot of
fit.
muscles
There's a
in
lot of
Venice Beach,
muscles
right?
and historically famous. Yeah.
I started that career out there, and I was only out there a year. I had like a real suit and tie management job for the first 20 years of my life, and I decided I wanted to retire, and I've always wanted to open my own studio. So I ended up doing it, and I opened my studio like the month before the stock market crashed in 2008. So I just started getting to do all the stuff that I loved with the people out there, and then all of a sudden it was time, and that business went down, and I was like, holy crap, what do I do now?
yeah.
Look at
And
this guy.
Dude, that's Photoshop.
Freaking.
That's Photoshop.
That's all
lighting.
right.
It's all about the lighting.
always
That's
you gotta
all
get
right.
angles. You're a photographer. You know.
It's a joke. It's a joke. But there's all kinds of stuff about that online. You know, so many people post pictures of themselves and fitness goals and all that kind of stuff on
Yeah.
Instagram. It's a big thing. There's all kinds of hashtags that go along with it. But there was I read this article. It was some female CrossFit badass that's just like she posted a picture about talking about how don't judge you can't judge about pictures and all this kind of stuff because she posted like a picture of her that someone snapped when she was just like literally these pictures were taken like 15 minutes apart. It was like she was sitting in the tent at a CrossFit competition, like just kind of slouched down, bad lighting, you know, looked like she had like a pudge belly and like her arms were, you know, jacked up and all this kind of stuff. And then like 15 minutes after like one of the things that they did, I mean, it's like outside and her abs look like she could, you know, break bricks on them in her arm. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
she was just like, you can't, you know. And I've seen several other posts like that showing people like, going, like it's not you can look one way or the other real easy.
Well,
just depending on.
So I heard something that was interesting. It was based off the same kind of principle where it's like someone who looked completely ripped and jacked went and rode some bikes with some guys, and they hit the first hill, and he couldn't keep up whatsoever. The dude could lift whatever, but it's a different kind of fitness with what you're kind of doing. So it's almost like a specialty. But those guys riding the bikes aren't going to be pressing heavy weight or anything like that because it's for different purpose. What do you focus in general, like on? Do you have a specific discipline, or do you tend to like just kind of go all overboard and see what the person kind of wants to do?
I try to use all the religions and combine them all. I mean, when I say religions,
I
I'm
like
talking about fitness is the analogy for that. So there's everything from from your types of CrossFit performance training. You've got all of your HIIT training, and you've got all of your other disciplines. If you include yoga, dance, Pilates, there's tons spin classes. And I'm just barely kickboxing classes.
Weightlifting, kettlebells.
You've got all these wonderful ways to move your body, and when you're moving your body in various ways, that's when the individual is gonna decide not only what they actually need, what they need to get in better fitness, but
Okay.
what
I got you.
got you, or not only what they need for better fitness, but like what they're trying to accomplish with their goals. And a lot of times, so you were talking about the physical appearance. Got to be honest, like that's not what when people come to us, that's not what I mean. That may be one of the small vanity goals, but dude, fitness has very little to do, honestly, with what your appearance is. It's a great byproduct. I preach that all the time. That hopefully the byproduct of doing what we're doing and giving yourself like some sort of fitness regimen to implement into your lifestyle, so that you can actually like be healthier, actually have more energy, actually have more cognitive thought and have better self-esteem. We were talking about it before the show, about how just having that sense of accomplishment, having some sort of routine that's just for you and that connection with your body. Those are the real things that start like that path of wanting to eat better, wanting to figure out, do I want to, what type of workout fits for me? Does it fit for my goals? Do I, is it what I like doing? And am I going to be able to sustain this for my quality of life? That's what we want to try to implement in. And the byproduct, hopefully, is then you get more lean muscle mass, you get less body fat, and the next thing you know, you look like you're like you want to look, or you look like you see people that you aspire to look like. Then it starts to happen for you. And start to just mold into that sense of what you're going to look like. I mean, check you both out. You guys are both look like you're in relatively great shape. Like
I'm a fucking stud.
see, that's where you want to
This
start.
guy's
You want to
freezing.
start.
This guy's freezing his sperm over here.
I like
He's
it.
so ready. He's
I like
ready.
it.
He's just like a.
I'm a stud.
Self-esteem
I'm
is
a
not going to be an issue.
racehorse.
That's half the battle right there. You're a glass half full guy.
No, well, you say that, and I appreciate it, but I mean,
You say that you haven't hung out with him enough.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, honestly, when I was leaving work today and I was going home before I came here, I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna go for a walk today. Just like in like preparation, I'm gonna be fit. I'm gonna go for a walk. And I got home.
Today's day one.
Shit. I did practice my saxophone and music and stuff. So I didn't just lay on the couch and do nothing. But like the biggest obstacle is the first day.
Why?
I don't know. Like I have had periods in my life where I've been incredibly active and incredibly fit.
How long
Not
ago?
incredibly, but I was disciplined.
Like, when was that?
The last time I would say I was in better shape was like 3 years ago, right before my. And it's kind of funny because I'd lost my job at the agency that I was working at, and I really got into yoga, like really got into it. I was going 4 or 5 times a week. I was in teacher training, and then I was using that as well as I had kind of adopted a vegetarian, vegan diet, so I was eating incredibly healthy and clean. I was going to yoga 3, 4, 5 times a week. I was training, and then my only cardio was I would just go for walks. I maybe run a little bit, but like I wasn't doing any kind of extreme workouts other than yoga that I was practicing was fairly intense.
What kind was it?
I was practicing more of like an Ashtanga style,
See?
and I like doing the primary series.
Yeah.
A lot.
CC.
And then I moved away. I got a job, and I moved away, and I got away from my. And when I was in Arkansas, like I couldn't find there wasn't a studio there I liked, and I know I could practice on my own, and I was trying to practice on my own, but I just like slowly started moving away from it.
Yep.
And then when we moved back to Nashville, I moved back and I got a job that was really physically intense. So when I got home from work, like the last thing I wanted to do was anything physical because I was so tired from being on my feet all day and like really physically working hard.
Yep.
Doesn't help that you're not a morning person either.
It does not help that I'm a morning person. And so it just gradually moved away, and then I stopped practicing, and and then I had a kid, and that was taking a lot of the.
For sure.
And it's just one of those things. It's like the momentum and the snowball effect of like, it's just as easy to get out of rhythm and out of it as it is to, or it's easier to fall out of the rhythm than it is to get back on the horse and get at it again.
Yeah, especially as your life's evolving and and you have to focus your energy on other priorities.
Yeah, they shift. The priorities shift.
I would guess, and a lot of times what happens, I'm guessing, is then the first thing you sacrifice, especially when it comes to like new moves or kids, like you're gonna be like, all right, I'll sacrifice my own time for that shit. I'm guessing that's just normal.
And the thing is you can't. I know the frustrating thing is I know how beneficial it is to exercise from head to toe, like mentally, physically, all of that. I get it, and I know that I've never felt better than when I exercise. But it's just that, like, okay, I'm gonna go to yoga tomorrow, and then you wake up and you're like, I'm just gonna drink some coffee and watch Netflix. It's so easy to not do it, but then I've never regretted getting up and doing it.
Yeah, our goal, by the end of this podcast, tomorrow is like
the first
the
day.
start.
And see, I'm already.
It's already done. Like
this
is going to happen, or you want this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You want this.
And I mean, and luckily that I understand that at least I don't eat shitty. Like I eat fairly healthy.
Yep.
Still, like that didn't go away. I still, stay away from sugary foods. Sugar's never really been my bag anyway, but like I eat a lot of vegetables. I eat healthy. I don't eat all day long. I don't do sweet teas and all that. And I think that is more. I could be wrong, but I think that what you eat has more to do with what your weight is as opposed to how much you exercise. Because there's been times in my life where I was exercising like a motherfucker, but I wasn't eating right, and so I wasn't losing weight, and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted because I didn't know that at the time. I'd go to the gym for 2 hours, then I'd go home and order
eat some
Chinese
burgers.
takeout.
How often are you involved? I would assume a lot, but how much is your focus typically when you enter? I mean, I'm sure it's case to case, but when someone hires you to start working with them,
yep.
You're obviously looking at what they're eating, what their lifestyle is, what they're doing,
yep.
how much they go out, kind of
yep.
thing. Where in line is that sometimes? Is that more typically the first thing you're approaching? Is that usually after you've gotten them more sweating a little bit? When does that fall? Is it someone that they have to specifically say, "I want help with nutrition," or?
Every one of them's individual basis. I'm pretty lucky that most of my almost all of my clients that come to me, they already kind of have the knowledge of nutrition. They're already kind of living the lifestyle, or they're much like your case where they've had a history of the lifestyle, and whatever's happened, the life fucking happens, and they get thrown off course, and they're just looking for a reset button or somebody like me to give them easier, simpler ways and hold them accountable with better ways of moving your body. So that's the hardest part, is getting that object in motion so that it stays in motion. And so lots of times my clients, they don't necessarily want me to give them a food journal because that's just going to be so linear in their brains that it's not going to be conducive for what we're trying to do. Most of my clients that come to me, we're talking about an inside-out job usually, where something's gotten off and all you really need to do is just trigger the mindset, which we're going to do with Adam tonight.
I love it.
It's a simple question, and sometimes it doesn't happen until a couple weeks in, until there's a trust factor and a rapport when I have new clients.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just kind of feel it out because it's a relationship. I'm lucky. I don't have group classes. I mean, I don't have big classes. I got to deal with one individual or a few people at a time. So you really do get to know them, and it's a relationship. So I kind of feel that relationship out just on when they're ready to share. If I start pushing an
Gotcha.
issue or an envelope until I even know what the F I'm talking about, I'll just keep it to the simple stuff of, again, the first step is showing them the success of setting up a schedule and getting their butt to the gym. The hardest part about any workout is getting off the couch or off of the bed, out of your bed, and getting to your car and getting there. Once you get there, hard part's over. Then you're automatically, like you said, when's the last
Yeah.
time you've ever
So
left a yoga
schedule's
class?
key.
Well, and having that commitment or accountability, whether it's with a trainer,
Ah, you said it. Accountability.
whether it's with a partner or whatever that accountability, maybe it's to yourself, maybe it's goals that you've
See, the
already
to
set.
yourself thing's hard. That's the hardest accountability.
I agree.
I'll tell you what you need. You need to do
I
something
need
where
to
you're
just get off my ass.
no, well,
and go
no, but
work
what? No, but
out.
it's like the things where they say
that
like
means
within
you
like an
gotta do it.
office where they're like you have a pool for like $100-something, like you
Yeah.
know, and it's like a workout thing where it's like the winner or whatever. It's interesting because Tim Ferriss talks about a lot of that. I know we've talked about like in 4 Hour Body. I know it talks
Yep.
about how that's why the success of having those things where it's almost like a contest, but it gives us like an accountability. It gives us something to work towards. Having a group of people that you're going to let down or
Yeah.
someone's going to be like, okay, so-and-so's late, or like that helps
Yeah.
push you.
I mean, the thing is that when I have been more active in my life and exercised, and when I was doing yoga, or when I was going to the gym, or and I've done different things. Like it was my self accountability. I didn't have. It was just I got the ball rolling, and then it was just it was a matter of just I fell into routine, and once it becomes routine, then it's easy to maintain. But it's just getting that ball in motion.
Seriously, did you feel better? Did you feel better then than you do now? And I promise this isn't like leading
Oh,
question.
absolutely.
But like, and don't worry. Like, gives a shit about like
No,
how much you weigh.
No, absolutely,
what you look like.
100%. I mean, I think that the exercise, the benefit of exercise is a mental benefit first. I think it's
For sure.
it's for your brain first and foremost, and then the byproduct of looking good and physically just taking care of yourself. That's comes second. But like, man, if you got something on your mind, going for a walk or going to the gym, like you just feel better. Like it's just these endorphins get going, and you just like, man, I feel good.
And that's why you're gonna start prioritizing your shit tomorrow,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Think about it this way: there's 168 hours in a week, if I did my math right. If you just start small, don't even worry about, I need to pick it up where I left off 3 years ago. If you just say, listen, for the next 2 weeks, keep it small, simple chunks. For the next 2 to 4 weeks, I'm gonna make sure that I sign up for yoga tomorrow. By the way, do you guys know that Hank's mama owns a yoga studio, Shakti, Lauren and Kelly Farina? So
Hank the dog.
Hank the dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
okay.
so we're gonna hook up. A Shakti 30-day trail. I got this bad boy, and that's where you're going
I've
to
never been
try.
there.
You're gonna love it.
I would feel like I was cheating on my girlfriend a little bit.
Oh, then
Yeah,
cheating on my wife.
Because he's good buddies with.
I've practiced at Steadfast and True.
Then go there.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I've got that. It's not a. It's just a matter of just going and doing it.
Yeah, we had
And I know,
Jillian
just
St.
ripping
Clair
off
on
that
here.
Band-Aid.
3
Just ripping
hours.
it off.
3 hours out of
Yeah.
168 is 0.02% of your life.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
You're telling me
I
that
have
you don't give a shit about yourself
enough
enough
to do 3
You
hours
care.
a
I
week.
love it.
to find 3 hours out of 168 that you don't love yourself
Yeah.
enough to go do that. Like,
I've-
dude.
I've been. Me and my wife have been talking about joining the Y, and we're looking at it, and talking about accountability. Like if you're paying for something, that's another accountability. Like if you've already paid for I already paid for these classes. I might as well go and
Yeah,
do it.
sure.
Like going and paying for unlimited yoga for a month at Steadfast. It's like it's $100-something.
Do it.
If you pay it and then you go, oh, I'm gonna get my money's worth. So I really like swimming. Actually, like I'm definitely want to get back to practicing yoga more than I've been doing. But I really like swimming.
How do we get you 45 minutes to an hour in your day tomorrow?
Just me getting up early.
What do you got? What do you got tomorrow? What's your schedule look like?
I have a photo shoot from 1 to 6
Yep.
in the afternoon,
Yep.
and then I got a few things to do in the morning. I mean, I could easily get up in the morning and do something for an hour.
What time are you gonna go to Steadfast? Seriously, make that happen.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna change your life,
Yeah, oh, I know.
dude. And like everyone
But
is.
Matt even already said, like, I'm so not a getting up
But
in
see,
the
that's the
morning
hard. But
person.
see, that's the thing is like
But you get used to it.
I'm kind of and it's no, you don't. It sucks. Like that's the thing is, it's like, but
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing what you were saying. It's not even the fact of it's not in. It's like hard to get going, but you know how you're gonna feel after. It's
Yeah.
hard getting out of bed. And it's hard, like even like as I do that countdown thing where it's like Diane. I think it's Diane Millman. No, not Diane. It's someone talking about where basically it's like you do a countdown, like a NASA countdown when your alarm wakes up, and you got 5 seconds to get out of bed. And you're so you're 5, 4, 3, you get to 1 and 1. But there's sometimes like 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, bullshit.
Yeah.
I can't do this. Like but it's one of those things too that I'm finding when I get into a routine, because that first week for me, like when you start off, when you put, that's where it's not so much. It's harder for me to like. I'm one that always I want to put more distance in, or I want to put more weight on. I want to do like so. I want to do that right out of the gate, and I have to realize that no, baby step, like get early, like start basic. But now it's almost like if I don't get up early, I almost have this nagging like you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
You're gonna,
Right.
your date, you're gonna be
Yeah.
cranky.
Mhm.
Just get up, put the shoes on. Oh, but I'm sore. My God, I know.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's strange too. Maybe it's I'm horrible with rest days. Like tomorrow, I probably should do a rest day.
Yep.
I'm probably not gonna though, because I'm one of those things where it's like I'm sore. I'll get sore, and I'll like sometimes I've been better with it now, especially that I've been doing more of the plant based thing. I'm not quite as sore, but
Yep.
as soon as I start working out, the soreness goes away. Then I stop,
Oh.
and then it's back. But but it's fun. But I think that if I don't get it in, that's the hard part with the rest days, because I feel like on those, and I know how important that is. You might, I don't know if you agree or not with that statement, but I think I know that that's what a lot of growth happens when you rest.
Yeah, I think it's very necessary, and I think you can go by feel. So it sounds like just from the little that you've been talking about, you can kind of know what your routine is, and if you're in tune with how your body works,
Mhm.
and you kind of know and feel like, I need this day off. My body needs that rest. If you're intuitive enough, you can listen to it. But the general rule of thumb is if you know that you just did a big hard resistance training workout where you really tore down muscle fibers using
Mhm.
heavy resistance against gravity, you know it's going to take longer to heal, and you can kind of tell the difference in those sorenesses, whether it's more of whether it was a medium or light intensity workout, and it'll be sore, and you can kind of work it out with yoga or work it out with breathing and just getting blood flow, and some of that myofascia will start to break up a little bit. But again, you know your body, but a lot of times, like for general rules of thumb, I usually try to take 24 to 48 off afterwards if I know that I really ripped up my muscles with a hard resistance training. But kind of feel that, you know how that goes.
How much aerobic training are you doing, like running and all that kind of deal, or like that?
Well, with what we do, our workouts, I don't even know how to explain it. We'd have to show videos, but we're gonna get
Do you have videos?
on my phone.
I was gonna say if you have them on YouTube, we could probably pull them
Dude,
up and show some
that's the
people,
next
but,
step.
okay.
I'm gonna get this wonderful
All
group.
right, we'll get to
help
that.
me
The next step.
that's
We'll get
gonna
to
be
the marketing
next.
portion of this next. So.
But so instead of breaking it up into, all right, today's my cardio day, today's my back and bis day, today's my legs day, or today's my
But you never skip.
No, so we'll
Never skip leg day, bro.
dude. So
Sorry.
we do more functional for cat.
Every time, this is why you say that, because anytime I think about that, I think of that Saturday Night Live sketch from like back in the '80s when it was like how much you bench, and it was like
Talking about the Hans and
Hans
Franz.
and
no.
Fonz?
It was like Jay Moore and like I can't remember. Maybe it was I can't remember who the other person was. Look that up real quick. See if you.
I don't think we can play it.
Like they're sitting in chairs and like they're all jacked up and stuff, but then like they have like these little puppet legs hanging off the thing, and they're like obviously roid raging
Dude,
and stuff. It
trying to
is.
remember-
Oh,
like
wait, was that Mad
what
TV?
what you bench?
That was
it
SNL?
Saturday- It
SNL?
was SNL, and I'm pretty sure it was Jay Moore was when he was on there.
That's
what you
hilarious.
I'm
bench?
trying to remember the other
It's
dude.
So funny.
But yeah, dude, there's a little truth to all of that.
So, but go ahead.
Yeah, back to the cardio part. There are days that I'll do cardio, or that I'll have my clients, or that I'll do cardio. So a lot of my clients, they already run. They already have like a routine where they'll do their days of cardio. But when they're working out with me, we integrate the cardio into the workout. The workout that we do is just a jambalaya of everything. Some days
Okay.
it's resistance training on the TRX, into boxing combos, into kickboxing combos, and then maybe we'll do fast twitch work with the speed ladder, and then go over to the speed ropes and do battling ropes, and then come back and hit another group of resistance training for another for another 2 minutes, and then we'll just kind of rotate through. And so with most of the cardio that takes place during our workouts, we want to get while we're doing our resistance training, because most of the stuff that we're doing is all performance and athletic based. People will refer to it as functional training, but the reality is we're just trying to move. I want to move their bodies in as many ways as possible and keep it fresh for their brains, so they actually have to think about the body mechanics that they're doing.
Yeah.
And they also have to think about integrating what the sequencing is, so that they can actually flow their bodies, and you know this from yoga, so that the energy of their bodies moves efficiently and fluidly, instead of herky-jerky against gravity and only doing certain body parts apart from each other. Which again, we don't live our lives like that. When you're up on stage doing your thing, you're never sitting and using one or two body parts. You're moving and flowing. So that's that's what we do. That's what we do.
I very much approach playing music on stage as a physical activity. It's more fun.
Of course,
it's more fun that way.
Where else do you get your creativity and your juices out?
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like what you're talking. I mean, is an overall fitness and mixing, in a functional fitness. You said, because you could be going to the gym every day and lifting weights and have muscles the size of and looking ripped, but you could still technically. I mean, I wouldn't say be unhealthy, but you're not fit, right? I don't know how you like.
Well, that's what I said earlier. So
I mean,
on that Tim Ferriss. So the thing is like one thing I heard.
You could look like you're the cover of Men's Fitness magazine, but you can't run a mile.
Well, definition of fitness. Yeah. Definition of fitness. What some people I've heard define it as is how do you feel the next day?
Yeah.
Okay, how fit are you? You go and perform this act. How do you feel afterwards? The body can do amazing things in the heat of the moment. Like I could probably, if I really wanted to and put my mind to it or whatever, I could go run a marathon tomorrow. How would I feel the next day?
Yeah.
Probably not great because my training hasn't quite gotten me to that point yet. So fitness. Is I think more or less like how could I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger that was actually talking about it, and it was in one of the Tim Ferriss interviews. I think that's the basis of it is if you push yourself so hard that then you can't do anything then for like 3 days or a week.
Yeah,
you've kind of ruined it, and it doesn't matter how you look, doesn't matter how much you bench that day before. You can't move.
You're talking about going and running a marathon tomorrow. You know the comedian Eddie Izzard?
Yeah.
Did you hear about it? Was several years ago how he just I don't know if it was publicity or whatnot, but he ran 3 marathons in a row.
Really?
One day, then the next day, and the next day. And didn't train for him, didn't do anything. He was in good shape. It was he just did it just to show
how his body would react.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
3 marathons in a row with no training leading up to it. Just
what do you think about those endurance athletes and stuff like that? Are you into what do you think?
Tip of the cap. I don't. I don't have that skill
Not
set.
my bag.
No, man. I think
like
it's
Rich
amazing.
Roll and all those guys and everything like that.
I think what they do is amazing. Again, I don't care whether it's your first day of working out or whether you're that peak performer that are doing all those things. The people that are doing that at that level, I applaud that they have that regimented of a routine and a lifestyle, and that it's that important into their lifestyle, that they are that committed to it. I wish I had that much commitment to one thing. So, dude, if that's their gig and that's what they identify with and that's what gets them out and moving and that's their passion, I think those people that have that much commitment to train that hard and do that are as passionate as the musicians that play 7 nights a week and go. That's their thing. I think that's how they identify with what they're doing. Do I think from a fitness level, for most common people that are doing it, I just don't know if that's the going that overboard with trying to run, do those super 150
to 100, 150, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, just so as a general rule of thumb, when people that are running marathons, and yet they don't do any sort of core resistance training or they don't do any lengthening through yoga, and all they do is run, they end up having a lot of problems with the impact because that repetition over and over and over and over during training. Again, anytime you're just putting that much repetition of pounding on your joints, it's just not usually a super healthy thing, which is why I have all the respect in the world. For the people that do it at that level, that's crazy. I mean, it's impressive.
I'm doing it at single-digit level mile wise sometimes, and I still feel the impact like on the hips, on my ankles, on the knees, and I'm learning, and also because this is different too because I'm training for a Tough Mudder, the National Tough Mudder next month.
Nice.
I got a buddy that signed me up, and I've always wanted to do it. I thought it'd be fun, and but it's like 10 miles, all the 20 obstacles or what have you.
Is it really 10 miles?
Mm-hmm. And so the idea is that it's different because I'm not running the entire time. I'm
Right.
doing a lot. It's like you're switching into doing so. So I've started training.
And it's not on concrete.
No, thank goodness. I don't like running on concrete, but I'm doing it a lot right now.
Yeah.
But the thing is I'm doing these things now to where I'm doing a whole lot more of like the core training, doing yoga, trying to do a little bit more of that strength conditioning along with throwing some distance in. Like when I first started training for it, all I did was just like strength training, didn't really do any distance. I've also done a lot of interval training and like Tabata kind of stuff, which has been huge, which I've never really implemented. The gains I'm getting.
You'll notice the
Man,
cardio gains for sure, right?
That's been the big part.
Yep.
Like that's what I'll do is like there's like and here so. I guess I'll ask a question here, and I guess you can charge me later for consultation if you want on this one. But it's like okay, so if I've been doing these things where it's like I'll run for a couple miles or so, and then I'll stop, do like 50 push-ups.
Yeah.
Then run a couple more miles. Then stop and do 50 push-ups. So the whole thing is by the end of it, I've done 200 push-ups within those.
That's what we're talking about.
Is that screwing up?
No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Because again, you're shocking your muscles into having to work a different type of cardio in between what it's normally used to doing. So your muscles will get used to doing the same thing over and over and over again. So the diminishing work that they have to do to reproduce the same results get easier. So when you mix in a little bit of different training and you throw a little bit of body weight against gravity and you do push-ups or you do some jump squats or you do some sort of pulling motion or seated dips, whatever you can find.
I try to mix it up.
Whatever
a lot
you
of
can
body
do
weight.
whatever you can do to change your heart rate and fire off your muscle fibers in a different way, that cardio then transfers over for the next time when you're going to do your Tough Mudder or anything else, because then your body has that ability to then again cognitively think and be like, oh, I've got a history, I know how to get through that, and that only comes with then putting that stressor on you safely, of course. But yeah, keep doing that.
I love it.
We'll talk more. Or well, I'll take you through a workout. I'll have you come up and I'll take you through a good workout that you can apply when you're out there between doing it.
I'd love it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing too about with working out. I think like what you're saying, like with the yoga thing, the more you get educated on it, the more you can take with you, and the more you just kind of build your library of what there is. Because I even for a minute. I remember a couple of years ago, I started doing some of like the CrossFit WODs. Like I never really did. I've never been in a box or anything like that, or done those things. But I've done a lot of the named exercises, and it's like the Carol, like the different kind of formulas or prescriptions, the scripts. That's what it is. And then I've done some, like I said, cross country, endurance racing in that sense. And then I've done, weight training, done everything. But it's like, so then with yoga too, now it's like, going into my 30s, I feel like I'm like, oh man, I'm understanding the mechanics now of what each of these little disciplines is going to do and add. I know that I don't like doing a ton of weight because I hate feeling like this all day. I hate feeling that water retention and feeling like I'm I can't put my arms down properly and everything. And so I've known that I have to keep some of that at minimum. I'd rather just get the muscles denser as opposed to bigger. And so with different activities, I can find ways to get to that.
Yeah. I've started. I think about my 30s too, when I started to kind of change my perspective of what does my body look like, or how do I build this from the outside in, to start thinking, all right, so I'm doing a Tough Mudder. What do I need to do to get my body in that shape? And the byproduct's going to be whatever those muscles turn out to be, because you do want them to be long and functional, and you want to have full ranges of motion so you can actually use it. I mean, you don't need. It's kind of like an investment banker. Like, you don't want to invest you don't want to invest like you did in your 20s when you could take more riskier stocks and more, you didn't have to. So in your 20s, you could really be risky and you can do all this stuff. In your 30s, you kind of feel how your body evolves and you kind of feel on how you're going to invest in your fitness a little bit differently. 40s, and then you figure out, oh, I need to be a little more conservative as those function or those movements or those workouts just aren't available to me anymore. I can't run that same distance. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
We've all been there. And so then you just reinvest into different things that still suit what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, course correct.
Yeah, because you're not trying to, like, I played football all the way through college. I'm not trying to work out like that anymore because I don't
played
need
football
to.
in
Okay,
college?
so
Yeah, I wasn't very good.
okay, so here's
Well,
the
you
thing.
played in college.
Baseball and football. Played both.
So okay, but
But
now
where'd
and
you
here,
go to college?
Small school in Iowa called Simpson College. It's a long, convoluted story, but I ended up at Simpson College. I started at a D3 school playing football and baseball.
What position did you play? You
So-
look like a running like a wide receiver type, or cornerback or something.
Free safety.
Free
and
safety,
Yeah,
okay.
they kept me as far away
Yeah.
from those human beings as possible. Thankfully, because no, man, colliding hundreds and hundreds of times against people bigger than I was
Yeah.
awesome then.
some people get off on that kind of thing. man.
I loved it. It was a great outlet for a lot of.
Some little dudes, and I'm not a big football fan anymore, but like every once in a while I watch a game and you'll see the stats of a player, and I'm like, that's how big I am.
Dude,
You know what I mean? Like he's like a cornerback or a defensive back, like someone that or on special teams, and like, oh, he's 5'11",
If you see-
190 pounds, and I'm like, that's how big I am. There is no way in hell that I could even imagine being out on that field.
Dude, they
No way.
those collisions are
Yeah.
insane
It's-
at
yeah.
that level. It's
I'd put like just force on either side, fast,
Man,
then
foot-
stop.
I think football is gonna. We're about to see like a major decline in football in American
yeah.
society.
What do you think's gonna happen? Because I'm kind of curious about this as
I
well.
think that parents are going to stop letting their kids play because of because of the long term damage that it's causing.
I think
you know,
you're crazy.
and especially no. Well, I'm just saying that like there's so many reports coming out now.
I
from
hear ya.
Former players and all that, and like I mean when you have like multi-million-dollar superstars retiring early because they're like, man, I'm tired of getting my bell rung. I'm
Calvin
already
Johnson.
feeling- yeah.
Did you see that
already
interview with
feeling
Calvin
the
Johnson?
effects. I just think that it's slowly. I mean, it's going to take some time, but parents are gonna stop letting their kids play, and it's going to become less of a popular sport in this country because of that.
What do
I
you
could
think?
be
I
wrong.
could see that. No, I
And
Yeah, I don't know
all
either.
it's going to take
don't
is
know.
some serious class action lawsuits from former players suing the NFL and bankrupting them.
Well, they had one of those and they settled.
Yeah.
I'm not big on that. I think the NFL is.
If I had a son, there's no way in the world I'd let him.
That
play
was gonna be my
football.
next question.
No
I
way.
ever yeah
No
no,
way. Not in a million years. I'd rather them get into MMA fighting.
yeah no kidding.
That's funny you say that because people ask me that all the time because I've said like if and when I go, like I want my brain donated to see because I can tell like that's just a crazy sport to play that up through college like I can feel it totally.
Yeah.
Well, see,
but-
you did some. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Oh
sorry.
please
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask because I know that on part of your bio that I was reading about, it was talking about that you the reasoning for quitting because you had to stop playing college sports because of was it an illness? Or?
Yeah. So kind of the reason why I do what I do now and the belief system that I have. When I was 3 days before my 21st birthday, I got diagnosed with a disease called aplastic anemia. It's a blood disease where your bone marrow stops producing red blood cells, platelets, and white blood cells.
You need all of those.
So wait,
Dude,
so it stops producing
it
blood.
yeah,
So,
right.
like, so it stops doing blood. Yeah.
Dude, your bone.
He's got plasma.
What else? Water? That's part.
yeah.
yeah. That's what's left.
I got cleated in a baseball scrimmage. I was out in Indiana at the time, and playing baseball, and I got cleated in a scrimmage, and my toe wouldn't heal, and I started getting all these little bruises on my body, and they were called petechiae at the time. I had no idea what they were, so I went to my trainer at the University of Indianapolis, and he didn't know what it was, and brought in another trainer from the Colts, and the Colts guy sent me immediately to one of their doctors for blood tests, and I'll never forget this day. It was 3 days before my 21st birthday. I went in to get my blood tested thinking nothing, no big deal. I'd probably just run down or whatever. I was having bloody noses, headaches. And I remember passing out. I never passed out with needles or anything. And I remember them taking my blood and I passed out and I woke up. And it was like 5 hours later and I was in the emergency room and like there was a bunch of people around me like freaking out. And so of course I was like, I was freaking out.
Well, yeah.
And they thought I like either had AIDS or leukemia because both of those might not produce the blood cells, and they didn't know what it was. And they discovered that it was this disease called aplastic anemia. So long story short, I spent like the next year. My family, I moved. I'm from Iowa, a small farm town in Iowa, and my family had a family doctor who had ties with the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. So I spent the next year basically living in isolation in that place, like literally thinking I'm gonna die tomorrow. There was probably 4 or 5 occasions when they'd call my family, who lived like 5 hours away, and said, "You need to come down tonight," and they'd rush me to ICU for whatever
Yeah.
strep throat or whatever
No
immune
way.
system.
So how
So
do they treat it? I mean,
there-
how is it?
Here's the catch: there is no cure for it. So they give you these central lines. They used to be called Hickmans. I'm guessing they're just central ports now. But it kept getting infected because I didn't have any immune system. And so after like the 3rd one got infected, I didn't have any more veins or anything to like so they could do the blood transfusions. I was pretty pissed off, and I really was like, "Fuck this! If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die at home." And I was kind of pissed off, and my family didn't want me to come home. Everyone's like, "You got to stay here." And I'm like, "Well, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die at home." And this is no lie. I was like, "I'm gonna die at home with my friends." It's like
Right.
a sophomore in college. It was the beginning of summer. And my parents, they were like, rightly so. They were like, "Well, you can't do that." They were scared crapless. But I went home anyway, and that's when a funny thing happened. Like I went home and I had this surgical mask on, so I wouldn't get infections. I was maybe there a week, and I got this infection in my arm, and they life flighted me back to the hospital for another 2 weeks. And they're like, "See, you can't go back." And I was like, "I'm still going back. I'm gonna go back. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die at home on my terms. I'm gonna die in this hospital bed," being all a little punk about it.
Right.
But it really did save my life because when I went back there, with my surgical mask on, I could barely walk, and I would go out to our baseball practices, and I used to be pretty decent on our, and I was good friends with our baseball coach, and he just let me come out there and watch, and so every day I would do that, and I'd go get my blood transfusions, and then I would only need a blood transfusion for once a week, and then I would only need a blood transfusion for once a month. 3 months later, I was out there like helping them coach, and I was like, I think I might live, and I had no idea, but literally just getting out and moving and not thinking about waiting to die and not waiting for that disease to run my life. I swear to God, like there's no, I really am a miracle child in that standpoint because I'd kind of given up. It wasn't like I fought hard for it. I just thought if I'm going to give up, I'd let go of everything. I'm like, I'm going to do this on my terms.
Sure.
And I just went home and started living and started being around my friends and started just being out and about. And sooner or later, like next thing you know, I was only getting blood transfusions once every couple of months, and I was like, I'm going to go back to school. And I ended up playing college baseball, and I was terrible. But I could have gotten drafted to play college baseball after my sophomore, right before I got sick, and I chose to go back to school. And that's when I got sick, and then I was like, screw that, I'm going to try to play one more year, and I was terrible. But I got to play college baseball one more year. I had to wear like a big helmet with a face mask in case I got hit in the head.
Right.
But that's honestly changed my perspective on how
So
I view the
you
world.
have to get transfusions anymore?
I don't go any. I haven't for 20-some years. I've been in remission for like 26 years.
What?
Yeah, it's been great.
It just went away?
Just gradually, and honestly, like
That's
sometimes when I have to go
crazy.
back and get something done, like in the emergency room, I'll have to tell them, listen, I have aplastic anemia, I have really thin blood, and so my counts are going to come up really short, but it's all good. Seriously, like I get to live my life like with, not as much like hemoglobin or platelets. And
Have you done any research into things that you could do naturally, like supplement wise or eating wise, or do you eat more of anything or less of anything that could help with that?
Well, now I eat much healthier just based on because I'm older and
Well,
on a
sure.
regular lifestyle. But at the time, I didn't do anything different. I just didn't lay in a hospital bed waiting to die, and I just kind of went out and started being active. But no, I didn't. At that time, I wouldn't know what to even prescribe to somebody
That's
from an
fucking
eating standpoint.
crazy.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Yeah, and again,
That's a
for me,
crazy
it
story.
was just a change in energy. No lie, it was crazy, and it still is, and it motivates me now to just whenever I get in those spaces where I'm the same way, dude. Like there are times where I don't want to get up or work out, or I get bloody noses sometimes, or I get bad headaches and I feel lightheaded, and I'm like, dude, I can feel that I'm just weak and I need rest. Then I rest. And then I'll literally, I know it sounds cheesy, but I'll meditate and I'll try to conserve my energy and try to just heal myself energetically, eat right. But I never go to the hospital. I don't get blood. I don't go back in for blood tests.
Do you get sick on the regs?
Dude, it's crazy. When I had a regular job, a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6 job, I'd have normal colds, normal shit like everybody
Yeah.
else does. I've been doing this business, owning my own business for the last 8 years. I can't remember ever getting. It's just not an option in my
Really?
brain. I mean, there's sometimes where you get a stuffing, or you get a,
Sure.
you know, I passed a couple. I passed a couple stones from all of the years of blood transfusion. So I passed like 4 stones. It's really the only thing that I have
I heard
health-wise.
that's the worst.
Dude.
I've heard that is. I had a friend in high school have to go through that. I've heard that is some horrible
And
pain.
here's the catch: everybody that's a dude thinks that it hurts when it's passing out the end. Out the end. That's
Right.
not the part that sucks. It's when it passes from your gallstone down through
Right.
your down into
Getting
your
down
urethra.
there.
Oh my
yeah,
lord,
I can only imagine.
dude, it is not fun.
I hope I never have to deal with
Yeah, I
that.
don't even want to deal with it.
Man,
But dude,
that is a
but nothing.
crazy story.
And it
Like,
really has influenced how I perceive like what
Now, do you
I have control over physically. Because I knew at that time I had control over nothing. I literally thought I was going to die. And I've got even a crazier story, and I swear to God it's true, and I've never talked about it publicly. Is the last time I was in ICU, I literally had I thought I had died, and I
Right.
had the experience. You've heard people talk about it. I've had that happen
Right.
where I literally could see and feel just this beautiful
yeah,
white
the DMT
piece.
trip.
Dude, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
the DMT trip.
I don't
totally.
know what really happened, but I can tell you that I can visualize it and feel it as if it happened yesterday, and
Okay.
it was
Wow.
the craziest thing I've ever experienced. And time didn't really have a place. There's no real words that I can describe on how it felt when you're trying to like process that now you can actually see yourself. And my friend was there holding my hand in ICU, and I can remember him crying into my hand, but I couldn't feel it or anything, and I was way up in a corner kind of and just kind of floating around, and I remember being so happy and so relieved, and everything just felt so just, I don't know how,
Yeah.
disconnected and peaceful. And then I don't know what happened from the time perspective, but the next thing I remember is I remember feeling his drops of tears on my hand, and then I was back in my body, and I was so disappointed.
You're like, oh,
I'm not
man,
gonna lie.
I'm back. I know,
You didn't really process it because you're so on
Yeah.
drugs during that time, but you process it like
Way later.
for years you process. I never talked about it for
Yeah.
the first several years after even having it, because you just don't even know, and you know how people are going to process that, and I don't really even know how to explain it, but I know that again, like, it just makes life a lot easier to not stress the big things, and the things that I did have I had control over nothing. So the one thing that I did have control over was the fact that I was stubborn about when I got out. No, I'm not going to go back to the hospital. No, I'm going to play college baseball again. No, you could die. Blah blah blah. And I was like, being stubborn and having control over, the only thing that I had control over was my physical presence, was what I guess would imagine what happens a lot of times when people have eating disorders. I have some clients that are working through a lot of those issues, and I'm guessing it's the same thing for me. It was the only thing that I had control over in my life, and so that was the only thing that I could fall back on that gave me any sort of, this is the one thing that was taken away from me and I didn't have any control over, and now what's my identity going to be? And then once I was able to get through that period in my life, I just knew that was one thing, that the one thing that I have is I get one vehicle. I get one vehicle to take care of.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to trade it in. You don't, like, why would I not take as much care of my physical vehicle as I do the actual car that I'm driving around in? That was insane to me. So
Well,
it
some-
really
people,
changed
some
everything
people
for me.
treat their cars like shit too. So I don't
Right.
know.
And that's
And treat
and
the
then they
body-
look at
and
them
that's-
treat their
well,
body.
yeah,
like,
and
But
yeah.
it's the same. The argument applies both ways. It's
I think
the
so.
same argument. Like, it's your body, and you can do, the only thing you have true control over, or should have true control over, is what you put into your body.
yeah.
What you do with your body is the one thing that you have. You should have complete autonomy over. So, if you're like Doug Stanhope and you want to do nothing but drink booze and smoke cigarettes and treat, and he has a very, like, I would say, like, nihilistic approach to life.
Wait, who's Doug Stanhope?
He's a stand-up comedian. He's a very, he comes from the school of Bill Hicks.
Oh
You know
yeah.
who, you know
yeah.
who Doug Stanhope is.
Yeah, Bill
if
Hicks.
If you saw him, you would go, oh, I know who that guy is. But I mean, he's a smoker. He's a drinker. He does drugs. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he was like, we're all gonna die. I want to have fun, like
And I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
You know,
his
he
path,
was like,
man.
Yeah, if you're having fun, but
yeah, and he knows, he was like, the fact that he's lived as long as he has is pretty impressive. But he was like, that's how I want to live my life. Like I like smoking cigarettes. I like getting drunk. I like doing drugs. I like having crazy sex with strangers. I don't care. We're all gonna die, and this is how I want to live my life. Type of mentality. And who are you to tell me to live any other way?
Agreed.
As
On
long
the
as
flip
he's
side,
go ahead.
Being healthy and going, I want to treat this thing as a temple, and I want to be here as long as I possibly can, and I want to feel, because he wakes up every morning feeling like shit.
But if he's sitting, if he was, the difference would be if he's sitting there going, "Oh, I wish I felt fit.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I felt better. I
Yeah.
wish if he just goes, well, shit, I guess how am I going to not feel this way? Keep drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're, but that's where it's almost like the thing
Yeah.
is like where it's wondering where that mental thing comes out. Like it's just like if you're okay with it, if you're happy, like you said, you're happy. If you're doing your thing, George Burns was smoking a cigar and having his brandy every night, but he was like really happy.
Yeah.
You just think of the guys that have the heart attacks at 40 or 50 because they're stressing the fuck out all the time, and they're worried about making that number, or they're worried about getting those,
That's one of the biggest things that I deal with every day. The push-ups, the push-ups and the squats and the pull-ups and the calories in and the calories out and what food to eat. That's honestly not the hardest part, and people end up loving the workouts. So that's not even the hardest part. Hardest part is getting people to like shut the noise off from all the exterior shit and reconnecting with just their own self for an hour.
Stop thinking about all the nonsense.
Dude, the unnecessary stress factors and noises that people absorb, and then it becomes their own new vibrational energy. All the social medias and everything that just has people just stress the fuck out. Bigger, more, better job titles,
now
more work, less time. The stress they put on time, man, so handling and dealing with that stress when they come in, being able to set it down for a little bit and just breathe and reconnect. So whether you're running or whether you're doing yoga, whatever that is, to just set everybody else aside and be like, dude, this is my time just to get this little body, mind, spirit connection back for a little bit. Then you can go back out, pick all that stuff up, and at least you've cleansed out your filters at least for a little bit to be like, now I'm in a better situation so I can maybe make a better choice instead of freaking the F out on somebody with a bad decision. Now I'm in a better space vibrationally to make a better decision, and maybe I just slough it off and it doesn't have any effect on me, whatever it is that you're dealing with in your day.
What would you say is the biggest misconception that people have about fitness and exercise?
They work from the outside in. The same thing that we talked about, how we started the show. Everybody thinks that fitness and exercise, they measure it for what they see, what their bodies look like, and not how they feel from the inside out. And again, I know that if we keep harping on it, and it becomes like this feel instead of a look. But those are usually end up to be short-term solutions for long-term changes that you're looking for.
Right.
So the biggest misperception is that if I look a certain way, then I'll feel a certain way. Instead of if I can start to feel a certain way, it's gonna happen. Like there's no way that it doesn't happen, because you're gonna start to feel a certain way because you're eating better, you're sleeping better, you're having more positive relationships, you have more energy in the day because you're exercising. Then you start to manifest more of those things that start that cycle continuing. And the next thing you know, then you put a couple of those days together. Now you've got
the
something.
exercise. The exercise manifests energy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Without question.
Not to go down a political rabbit hole, but what did you think about Trump's statement about why he doesn't exercise? Did you hear that?
Give it to me.
Oh my God!
I
haven't heard this
so funny.
Oh,
Give it to
me. He said something about how he believes that you are born with a finite amount of energy in your life, and that exercising like burns
depletes the energy source.
The energy source that you're given a certain amount of energy from day one, and if you exercise only depletes that energy source. So he said the reason he doesn't exercise is because he doesn't want to deplete his energy.
It's one of those
source.
people that thinks that you have an allotment of times you can.
I mean, when I heard that, I was just
off
like,
before you go blind
my
or something
God.
like that.
I was like, that is the craziest. Like,
So wait, though,
Sure.
If you think about it, though, does it really surprise you? So think about it. If the world is a
No.
pie, and there's a finite amount of pie for everybody, for everything to
Sure.
go around, There are people that are going to take as much of that pie as they can because they think it's a finite supply and they're coming from a place of need.
Right.
That comes from a place of fear, coming from a place of insecurity, coming
Sure.
from all those places. So if that general philosophy is, holy shit, my body is only going to produce X amount. I don't have the ability. I'm not connected to all of this energy that I can replace and shoot energy out and it's going to come back to me. Think about one philosophy is I am infinite energy because I'm connected with you guys. I'm connected with all this shit. And the more I give out, the more I give back.
Yeah.
That is completely the opposite of, holy shit, there's only this much pizza left. Get the fuck away from me. I'm going to eat it all.
I just remember
and this surprises you? Are you surprised by that answer?
No, not at all. I just remember hearing that quote, hearing him that he said that, and thinking like, there was a collective eye roll amongst every fitness trainer across the oh my.
They're falling
God,
asleep, dude.
Yeah.
As soon as it happened. Well, my thing. What about the people? I love one of my favorite things is.
Wait, by the way, I want to go be his personal trainer.
Yeah.
I can change.
Well,
I'm going to save the world.
Save the world.
Fuck yeah.
No.
I'm going to save the world.
Joe,
I'm gonna make
spend
him
your
love
time better.
Yeah.
Spend
I'm gonna
your
make
time better.
Dude,
I don't want you to.
Spend your
I want him
time
to have a
better.
stroke.
I'm going to teach him to love again.
Spend your love again.
I'm going to teach him to love again.
Again is not the right word. To love is the period. Is the first thing. I don't think he ever did.
No.
Anyways,
And we all come
so
out of the baby
speaking of
womb.
I understand. We no matter who you are, you've seen a vagina.
We come out whole.
Yeah, the whole thing, exactly. And then dad doesn't love you, and then you get upset. But again, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, what did I say?
So what about so the guy here's in general.
I'll be here next week.
Kind of fits into this. But I guess you could call it a segue. Can I pull a segue? Oh, it totally. I'll do it later. Doesn't matter.
Oh, that was so good.
What? I know it was gonna be good, but I know
it.
it blocked. I know I can't leave you hanging. Right?
Dude,
This thing is going. So there it is. There's the segue. It's not really a segue though, because it's kind of tied in. But
Sure.
so I'm running the other day, and like this guy running like at one of the parks or what have you, and this guy's like, lift your knees, like, and I didn't think anything of it, like kind of thing like that. I'm like, okay, asshole, like thinking like I what? But granted, I'm okay. I won't even go to the other side of the story. But then I come back and he was like, and I'm running back to the other side. He's like, no, man. He's like, you're gonna ruin your knees. You're gonna ruin your knees running. I'm a podiatrist or something like that. And I kind of want to be like, man, you're gonna ruin your knees sitting still. Like, shit, you're gonna ruin your knees. Period. Like, what do you think about those people? Like, I have a few that are like, it's like, oh, you work out, kind of the same. Oh, you work out, you're gonna wear yourself down, or you're gonna. I can see how doing like the collision stuff, like in NFL and all those different things, is different than like.
Don't you think that's don't you think they're really projecting their own
Yeah,
thoughts?
absolutely.
As
No.
I don't think you need to worry about that shit. I'm pretty sure
I never do.
But yeah, most of those people that are probably trying to, give you corrections probably are projecting out the shit that they don't want to
Do you experience that a lot with people?
What do you mean?
Because you're like, okay, I don't know if you know this, but like you're like the fit guy in the Gulch. Like that's your.
Have you guys looked around? I'm like the old guy at the Gulch.
But that's whatever.
And I just look fit. That's why I have Hank. That dude is so
dude, that's
fat.
right. He's so fat. This dog is central, dude. This dog is.
So much. I wish you had brought him.
You got a picture of him on your Instagram?
I wish you had brought
you got a picture of him?
He's got his own Instagram.
What? Hold on. I'm gonna pull him up.
Yeah,
all right.
you got
Let's see it. What is it?
Hank and the Heart.
Hank
which
and the Heart.
Which his mama maintains.
Oh my word.
Yeah, he's got some good shit up there.
I think the thing about fitness and exercise is that, and my mom, I'll quote my mom on this as well. She's a pretty active lady.
That's my baby.
Here he
Look at
comes.
that guy.
And watch if we can do it now.
Talking about, okay, it's not about how long you live, because there's people that smoke and they're fat and out of shape, and they live to be 95 years old, but the last 30 years of their lives they feel awful. They have no quality of life. It's just they're on medication after medication after medication, and but then you have people that are super fit that you've read stories about, like, ultra fit marathon runner dies of a heart attack at 45 or whatever. I'm like, I guess running doesn't help. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that could be me. That could be me.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know how you're gonna go out. Nobody does. Some people can kind of guess, but you don't know. And the thing about being eating right and taking care of yourself and exercising is not about you're gonna cheat death and live longer. It's about you're gonna have a better quality of life
Now,
while you're here.
now, not only while you're here, but now. So I always just think. Sorry to interrupt your thought.
Well,
Please.
I was just gonna give a shout out to my stepdad. He turned 68 today, his birthday, and
Ooh.
he if he walked in here right now and you saw him, you'd be like, "There's no way that guy's 68 years old." I mean, he's taking care of himself. He's works out. He eats right. I mean, and his workout and the reason he is so healthy is because he comes from a place of fear because his dad died at had a horrible quality of life towards the end, died at like it's I can't remember how he's at the age that his dad died at or close to it, maybe even older, and he's thinking that he's that's going to be him, and he worries about his cholesterol and he worries about that kind of stuff, so he's done everything he can to keep that at bay by eating healthy and exercising and running. He just ran the half marathon on a whim. Like the last music, like 2 weeks before the marathon, he goes, "I think I'm gonna run the half marathon." Never run a half marathon before. He's like the only, he'd run like 5Ks and stuff like that. But yeah, he just had his like 30th or 50th high school reunion or some shit like that. And I was talking to him today, and I said, I bet that felt pretty good. Like, it was a pretty good ego boost going back to your high school reunion looking the way you do. I was like, I would be willing to bet that there weren't too many people in your class that still look the way you do and even feel the way you do. He was like, oh, yeah, there was lots of people that couldn't even come because they were bedridden and unhealthy at 68 years old.
Man, my dad died when he was young too.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing where I'd say in a way too that his lifestyle pushes me to be better. Yeah, but it's also in the same sense that I also look at it that no one else is going to pull me up.
Mm-hmm.
You might have some people pushing you or motivating you or helping. You might have people there to love on you, to get in your corner and to motivate to a sense. But it's ultimately up to you.
Yeah.
Unless you're in like a boot camp environment or in prison or if like you're that I got to get up. I got to eat right. It's like my brothers. I catch hell from most of my two most of my older brother, but just about like doing the plant-based thing. Like we were out in San Diego a couple weeks ago, and I was really fortunate that like most places we could, we had some badass like vegetarian or vegan stuff. And I'm learning that I really love the cuisine. It's amazing. It's like really you get some really good stuff when you go into places that can specialize in it. And it's like I could tell too that like the more I'm doing it, like I'm feeling okay. Like I'm keeping it going. And as the more my brothers are eating like meat or cheese, something like that, and they start to it wears them down. Like I'm seeing by the end of the day, it's a little bit more wore out, or they feel a little worse the next day, kind of thing. But I catch so much hell for not eating meat.
Yeah,
it's basically the same thing.
I know.
And not, like you get it, and like, but it's the funny thing is the justification too of like, oh well. My diet's this way, so I'm like, and I'm not sitting there going like, well, I'm better than you because I fucking eat beans all day. Like, I don't look at it that way, but I see the way my dad ate, the way he lived. I mean, he was also an alcoholic, abused a ton of alcohol, had really shitty self-esteem, had a lot of issues with just the way he projected his energy out into the world.
Did he have a stressful life?
He did he had a stressful life when he was working hard, when he was doing his thing, like in the stuff that he did. He was a music producer, deadlines, that kind of thing, working for other people, rewrites, like all those kinds of things. So he had stress, but then he got into more of the stresses to where he couldn't, he couldn't make the money for the home. He couldn't basically be a man in his eyes.
Yep.
And again, it's all his own kind of thing, but he had glimpses and moments where he got back on track, where he's actually living good, eating good, and then it slipped so fast. It was like one of those things that I saw that as like, look, if I don't have my shit together, I'm so prone to do exactly what he did, or do my own version of it. And I'd would rather. I don't know. I'd rather if working out and doing all that kind of stuff and eating right is if I'm going to miss out, or if someone else thinks I'm going to miss out, or if I'm going to wear myself out.
Right.
If
too
you,
early,
if you have
premature,
finite energy, so you
fine.
better not work out.
Like fine. I don't like the other feeling. I'd rather have that mental clarity. I'd rather have the push for it. And so I think that accountability again it gets back to that same thing, accountability. I know, I've seen what happens to people that don't take care of themselves. And it's you're a stepdad in that situation to where he's at that reunion. I've even seen. I kind of went back to a reunion not too long ago. It was more of a, but I mean, I'm not too far. I'm graduated in '01, so it's like, but even then, it's like some of the people I'm seeing, I'm like, wow.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet.
Some people haven't changed a bit, but some people
I
have
would
changed
be
a
willing
lot.
to bet that there was nobody at his class reunion that ran a half marathon this year, other than him. You know what I mean? Like, more than likely, it's just not that. You know.
What's his story? Is he a pretty positive guy? Like, does he have good energy most of the time?
His
Like,
story
what's the secret?
He's from Iowa.
That explains
He's
it.
from
No wonder.
Iowa.
That's where the good looks come from.
He's from Iowa. He got that
Every mess just
the
didn't-
corn-fed Iowa bred. He's just
Good outlook
you know,
on life.
I mean, he was an athlete. He played. You know, he's just he does have a pretty good out. I mean, I don't want to speak for him as a person, but I mean, he was in Vietnam. He was 101st Airborne. 101st Airborne
I
in
gotta meet this
Vietnam.
dude. I gotta
Like,
meet this dude.
101st, like that means he was jumping into the jungle on a parachute, dropping in the middle,
Mhm.
you know, getting shot at, and you know, he got, I think he caught, I don't know, I've never really talked to him too much about it for obvious reasons, but he got a Purple Heart, he got injured, and they said, well, you can go home, and he said, I'm good, I'll go back, and went back, served 2 tours. Came back, and then he worked for the air traffic control, and then he was a pilot for American. He just retired a few years ago, but I think it's just something that it was just part of who he was.
Yep.
Being fit was just who he was,
Yep.
and I would imagine too that like being a pilot is a grind. Like that's probably one of the hardest jobs, physically and mentally. On I don't think people think about how taxing that job is. I mean, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, flying for 12 hours all day long, in sleeping in hotels and eating, you know, and I think he knew that like if he didn't take care of himself, he wasn't gonna make it.
Dude,
Like,
that's a great.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that you can be a pilot. And I mean, if you look at most pilots, like you don't see too many. Like I think most pilots, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of pilots probably understand that they got to take care of themselves, because if not, I mean, they got a lot of people's lives on the line. I mean, they won't crash, you know. But just something that's part of who he is, and has always been a part of who he is.
Well, look at an elite performer in any field, and like they are typically in relatively good shape, or at least do something to maintain a good diet or meditation. Meditation is big. Do you meditate?
I do.
That seems to be huge when like it doesn't matter even if like they do work out or not, like, you know, it's how many times a day or a week or what have you, but meditation seems to again push that mental fitness. I mean, what kind of meditation are you? Transcendental or like or just Joe's meditation or what?
Sometimes it's Joe's meditation. Lots of times I can find good stuff on YouTube. Lots of times I can take readings and use those. But anything that will give me an hour, or sometimes I'll do it before bed, before I fall asleep. What I'll definitely try to do is my nighttime routine is I have a terrible time shutting my brain off and shutting all this energy off and slowing it back down. So it's hard to get to sleep and then get up early in the morning. So I'll use meditation to again shut all the freaking this shit goes crazy.
Sure.
So it's nice to meditate at night. And again, I used to have a lot of issues with depression and just not loving myself and wanting to, you know, just all those things. So when I meditate at night, it's really a nice time for me to just sit back and sit in silence and be an observer of all the crazy shit that my ego is flowing through in the all the stories that are going through of past or a future, and it's a nice time to then be able to realize that, oh, that's not me. That's just all the noises and the voices in my head that make the story up of who I think I am. But when I can sit and meditate, I can actually set all that down and separate myself or my soul from that, and just kind of sit back and then realize that, again, dude, don't take this shit so seriously.
Yeah.
Relax, and then I can see the bigger picture. Because you can, like everybody else, you get caught up in the next tree that you need to hurry up and chop down before the time expires.
Yeah.
So like the rest of us, I get caught up in the linear world. I get stressed, for like everybody else does. My self-esteem goes up and down based on whatever the superficial information that's coming in tells me I should feel. So it takes a little bit at the end of the night to make sure that I set all that down, and then I'll try to make sure that I do a lot of positive gratitude, especially for, again, my health, my life, all the things that I have gratitude about, so that way when I actually do fall asleep, my brain is getting programmed to at least dream and think about the shit that I wanted to think about, instead of the 8 things that I didn't get done that day, or the 2 people that pissed me off, or whatever the heck it might be that's not. I don't want to ruminate on that for 8 hours. I want that stew to be nice and marinated in the way when I wake up. I'll make sure I try to get, even if I have to set my alarm early, I'll get up at least 10 minutes earlier just than what I would do to just put my shoes and stuff on to get ready for my first training client. I'll make sure that I spend 10 minutes just making sure that I just get there and don't just shut the alarm off and hit the ground and start rolling into all the linear world that's going to take place anyway. I'll make sure you just be like, all right, make sure you have gratitude for the day. Make sure that you're still. So a lot of that little meditation isn't even just I'm not sitting there trying to find some sort of level of deepness. I'm just trying to separate
cleanse the palate.
Well, yeah, because I can see. So what I do is I have this mental thing, and everybody's got their own thing. Mine is I sit on a beach where I used to live in Venice Beach, and I can see my soul sitting on the beach, and I can see all my crazy thoughts, or all the negative thoughts, or all the things I'm supposed to be stressed off, either paddleboarding by or sailboating by, and they go by on the ocean, and then I can just kind of listen to the ocean come in my brain, and I can let all the silly things that had gotten in my shit earlier in the day, I can giggle about them, set them free, and then not have any attachment to them. I can kind of start fresh the next day. But again, it's a work. Like it's definitely work. But I love meditation because I don't do enough work from the neck up, because it's easy just for me to get going and throughout the day. And when you're moving physically all day, that energy just so then I'll end up crashing, and I want to make sure that I can kind of balance that out.
And I gotta ask, because we've talked about it. We've had her on as a guest, but have you ever done a float tank?
No.
You need to go.
Who's she?
Oh, Float Nashville, man. Amy
What up, Amy
Grimes.
Grimes?
Who?
Her name's Amy Grimes. She's the owner of Float Nashville.
Well,
we had her on as a guest. It was totally inspired by the Joe Rogan's podcast. I've heard him talk about it numerous times. I was like, okay, and it's something that both of us had always wanted to do. So we invited her on, and she was kind enough to give us a couple of floats.
Nice.
And because she wanted us to know what we're getting, to talk, so we could talk about it. And
what was it?
You get into this. You get into that thing.
Yep.
Right there. That's it. It's on our board. Yeah.
And you close the door, and you get down into your birthday suit, and it's full. It's got water in it, and it's like.
Oh yeah.
It's like 94% salt water or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you get in and you just float. Like it's weird.
How'd it feel?
It's amazing.
Oh, dude, it's like
transformative.
It's like literally. It's almost like if you had a perfect environment to meditate in.
Mm-hmm.
And I describe it as the longest you'll ever take.
If
I'm down for this.
If I could afford it, I would go every week.
I'm gonna connect.
If I could afford it, I would go every week. I would absolutely.
I'm down.
But dude, it will.
I'm down.
It's neat.
Like
it's worth trying.
Layers of onion. Just you strip down to your id.
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm all about that.
It's fun.
Yeah, that'd be.
It really is a good. I need to do another one of those soon too.
If I forget, can I get her information?
Absolutely,
I'm totally down on that.
You can find her on one of our past podcasts at iTunes or on Podbean.
Too is just I would imagine
like
it would be something that would be really great to go do after like a really intense workout.
Mm-hmm.
Just to alleviate the pressure on your joints and all that kind of stuff. Because I mean, you are weightless. Like
Makes
you
sense.
get in there, and the first time you do it, it takes a little while to kind of even just get used to what you're doing. Like you're feeling around. It really is hard to just stop and go, okay, and it's an hour and a half. session.
Yeah.
So you're thinking like,
I got to do this.
so you're thinking like, you're going, okay, can I really do this for an hour and a half? You know what I mean? And then finally, once you release
Yeah.
that thought, then it's almost over. But, so the first time you do it, it's you feel the effects and you can kind of get into that relaxed state. But like the second time, since you know what you're expecting and you know what to do, I felt like I was able to get in and just really like, okay,
Yeah,
See,
man.
I think because you have the meditation,
Still,
a little
yeah.
bit of that background with meditation, that's where I felt even on the first
Yeah.
one. I was like, it,
Yeah.
it took time getting into it because, like you said, you get
It's-
comfortable.
yeah.
But then, as soon as my body realized, oh, this is what you're doing,
yeah.
like it was
the
like
acclimation period.
it just like
Yeah,
you hit this zone and it flies by, and that's how you know it's working.
Yeah, because time doesn't have a presence.
It's gone. It has it's gone, but it's like it's not fast where it's like anxiety fast. It's
No.
like just it's the best. It's like when your massage goes by and you're like, okay, you're all done. You're like, bullshit. That was 30 minutes. I paid for 90.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
I
it was
mean,
90.
I could almost maybe equate it to or equate it to what you were describing when you were in the ICU of like that kind of out of body.
Yeah.
Yeah, you separate.
Because there was a in the second time I went, it was I was able to I focused on the breathing and I got to where I could hear my heart. The only thing I could hear was my heartbeat. And then I started going, okay, I wonder if I can manipulate that. And then slowly, it just your body, like the more still you stay, because you won't move. Like if you don't move, your brain forgets that you have a body.
Yeah.
You know, and so then your consciousness almost like separates from your physical self, and you're just in this wash
Exactly,
of like the sea of nothingness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is incredible. It is the best. I'm telling you, you need to go and check that out.
Done. Already.
It's
Tell him Matt and
It's
Adam
right up.
sent you.
Yeah, tell him Matt and Adam.
Talking
sent you,
past
for
the
sure.
sale. I'm already there.
It's,
Yeah, it's in,
it's in Berry Hill. It's just right down the road from
Yeah,
where we
I'm
are right
I'm totally in. I'm gonna see if I can get in this weekend. My
Yeah.
body
Awesome.
will use it.
now. Yeah, you'll be hooked. I would recommend just instead of buying one session, just go and buy a 3-pack, and then like go like, you know,
Make it a good month.
make
Yeah.
it a good month.
I'm
Yeah,
with you.
like go like. You know,
It's totally worth it. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
It is.
You know, I got a question. What do you think? What is your what's your opinion on the whole
I have no idea.
Okay, so when it comes to like calorie counting,
Calories in, calories out.
cheers.
calories in, calories out.
I don't like that term, by
That's
the way.
bullshit.
Yeah,
I
because
think
the thing is like if you took like 2,000 calories in of butter,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not alcohol.
or so what do you approach? So do you get people that like approach you with that, or like, oh, I've been counting calories? Like what would you say to someone who thinks that counting calories? This, and again, I know this is your opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is your professional
That's all I
take on
got.
it. Hey, it's cool. What do you think? What should people be focusing on if that's not the right thing to be focusing on?
Nuanced approach on that. So I'm not a big calories in, calories out guy because first of all, it doesn't. All it
A
is.
calorie is a calorie. Is not.
It's not. Yeah, all calories are created different, as you were talking about. Obviously, a sugar calorie that's going to get burnt quickly is way different than a different calorie that's going to get burnt slowly and either stored as fat or used as fuel. So every calorie is not equal. When are you eating those calories? Are you eating them at 11 at night? Are you eating them an hour after your workout when your body's just got done with a workout and it's getting ready to burn a bunch of fuel to restart rehabilitating and starting to rehab those muscles? So that again, that's when you're going to want to eat protein. So it's not just the timing in the day of when you're having those calories or how many you're having those calories. Are you packing on 2,000 calories at one time? Are you spreading it out throughout the 4 or 5 meals throughout the day? So you've got all those different variables when you get linearly into how do you measure what you should be eating. But I don't like it from a philosophy standpoint because I want people to have awareness of what they're putting in their face, and I want people to be aware and conscious of what they're eating and actually eating the food, chewing it, tasting it, enjoying it, savoring it, knowing what they're putting into it, their mouth, so that they have an accountability of what they're actually doing. A lot of times, if you notice, watch the next time you go out this weekend with friends, or if you will look around the next time you go out, watch how many people are just blindly eating, and they're just fucking getting that shit in their faces as fast as they can, and they're just total. And sometimes I will too, and I'm okay with that because when I go in, I'll bib up and be like, I know this is my party time.
I got a 4-year-old. I got 5 minutes to eat cold food right now. That was once hot 20 minutes ago, so I'm good.
Totally
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
So calories in from that standpoint, I'm not a big measurement guy on that for most of my clients because I don't want them focusing on that anyway. I want them focusing on when they're eating, what they're putting in their bodies, and the best time to fuel their bodies. And when they do have, I don't like the word cheat days either because you're not cheating anybody. It's your life. You're not enjoy. I want to call it
Enjoy
enjoyment
it, yeah.
days. Those are the days where you get where you've earned that. That's a day that you've earned, or days, or meals. And again, I don't like spending it in days or weekends. But when you go calories in or calories out, as far as like a mindset of how you're going to change your eating habits, I think it's a short-term win if that's the only thing that you're measuring. Is I had X number of calories and my watch says I burnt X number of calories. Again, that's not achieving any of the goals from what we're trying to do. What we're trying to get.
2,000 calories at McDonald's is totally different than 2,000 calories of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
2,000 calories at
Sorry,
McDonald's is this much, and 2,000 calories of fruits and vegetables is like you got to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables to get it, and there's nutrients and all kinds of other things that you get. I mean
Exactly.
that
So just make sure you know what you're eating or when you're eating it. Like, do some research again on
But that whole like calories in,
Well-
calories out thing was an FDA
It's a
marketing. It's a marketing
thing.
It's consumerism
that-
and commercialism.
Yeah,
It's a way to-
because
it's a way to
you
put
know,
things in a
the-
box.
Okay, so
'cause
speaking of
Michelle
that-
Obama wanted to push kids to eating better, and they was just trying to tell them not to eat sugars and all this kind of stuff. And then I have a feeling that some sugar lobbies and some people got into the ears of the administration, and all of a sudden they changed. I watched like
Corn syrup.
yeah, you know, she had to change her message,
Yeah.
and to that calories in, calories out bullshit. And I don't want to get all riled up and angry, but like
It's your
there's,
podcast. Why wouldn't you?
too
Yeah,
late.
right.
That's the
You
spot.
you already have.
but I mean
Roll with
there
it.
that's one of the biggest, like the epidemic of obesity and
Sorry.
and unhealthiness in this country is because like one the ignorance of just the and I say ignorance in the true sense of it, that people are ignorant to the truth and the facts of what's going on. They see, oh, it's 100% juice. It's okay to give this to my 2-year-old. It's 100% fruit juice. But they don't realize that you're just mainlining. You might as well be giving them a Sprite or a Coke. You know, you're just giving them sugar. Like, sure, it's natural sugars from orange juice or whatever, but there's none of the fibers and the nutrients to help break it down in the body at a more timely manner, as opposed to just drinking that orange juice and getting that sugar
You know what
spike.
you're talking
I
about,
know my shit. I've watched some documentaries. I've watched them.
dude.
No,
I've watched
listen,
Super Size Me,
Well,
man.
no, but
I
I
get
mean,
it.
no, but it you know,
So
when you get into
a lot of nutrition
Backtrack.
failures start from lack of education or lack of accessibility or a combination of both.
yeah,
I mean, it's pretty simple, especially in kids. Especially in kids when their habits are taught easy, and when most of the things that they're putting in their bodies, whether it's at school, which our school system don't offer a great option for keeping our kids fueled and healthy. No wonder they're tired and have ADD when they don't have healthy fuel options when they're actually at school. I totally get where the food systems have changed over time. So without either not knowing the difference, or if you do know the difference and you can't afford or don't have access to the difference, those two things right there don't allow for a great opportunity that
See,
that
and
a
I
lot of
think
people
though
get.
that the myth of like, and I'll get your opinion on this.
Sure.
The you know, they say, well, it's expensive to eat healthy. I
Mhm.
call bullshit on that every time. I'm like, you can go and buy a bag of rice, whole grain rice, like quality rice, some beans, and veggies. Like one, you know, you can take one. You know, certain vegetables. If you like one cucumber, one squash, or like one zucchini, one squash, and chop it up with some rice and beans, and you can feed a lot. You could feed a family of 5 with that.
We'll have that recipe posted here shortly.
Yeah, right. Rice and beans. You know, people go, well, that's not really good. Well, you can season. You know, that's the other thing is that people just don't even know how to cook anymore. Like that's one thing that both Matt and I share a passion for is cooking. Like I love cooking. Matt likes cooking, and it's just one of those things that people just it's total. Bill Burr has a bit about it in his last special, talking about how,
Solid.
like they're giving the vegetables. Get this shit out of here. Buy it and get it. Like bananas are not expensive.
Well, my
You know,
thing is the
fruits-
expensive thing is it's the people. It's again, it's back to that idea of right now, like this. The expensive thing doesn't happen right then. Sure, it might. Even if you want to say the argument, okay, fine. You're going to buy all organic. You're going to buy just pre-specified. You're going to buy from Whole Foods.
Yes,
You're
that's expensive.
So like, yes, okay, but even saying
Yeah.
even saying that up against your cheap, whatever you're buying, processed whatever, 8 to a pack, whatever. In years to come,
Thank you. This is gonna.
yeah, go for it. Go. You
No,
should talk.
hit it, buddy.
We're interviewing you.
No, hit it, buddy.
I mean, you hit it. You see it a lot more than probably we do. It's going to tax you
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and that's the thing is then you get into that spot where I think with a lot of people, maybe they just feel like it's
Yeah.
too late.
Yeah. I use
It's
this.
irreversible.
I use this a lot of times, extrapolating out that argument too. Is it too expensive? When would you rather? Again, if you think about it, you've got two alternatives. You can either fuel your body with as good a stuff that you can afford to put into your body and know that the future means you probably aren't going to get as sick. You're probably not going to have to spend as much money on pills. You're not going to spend as much money on high blood pressure medication, ADHD medication. You're not going to have to, because once those habits are started as a kid, it's way harder when 2/3 of our population is obese. Way harder to change those habits at that level, as opposed to giving them some sort of nutritional knowledge and some sort of nutritional foods that they can have, or a better dietary plan, so that when they actually are older, they're not spending money and they're not sick when they're in their 20s or in their 30s and they're not on medications. So I use this with my adults all the time. Is like, would you rather spend this money being proactive, driving around in a really healthy vehicle, and this works with kids too. Would you rather have your kids being actually healthy, active, able to stay focused, have balanced behavior, and still feel good because they're spending more money on the food you're giving them than all of the doctor trips that they're either going to have relatively soon or when they're older in their 30s and 40s and they have all these bad habits and now they've got diabetes or high blood pressure? Those are the things that you can't. Why would you not want to drive around and spend your money now to have a healthier vehicle in the present moment and look way better, like those pictures that we're talking about at the very beginning of the show? It makes no sense to me not invest your money wisely now in the moment so that you can enjoy all of those things, as opposed to saying, you know what, I can't afford to do that now. I can't afford the time to do that now. I can't afford means I don't have enough to do what I ideally want to, and that's always means if I'm coming from a place of not having enough money to feed or not enough time to do it, that's always going to lead back to not having enough, and so you're always going to be in a place where you're going to end up spending more money in the long run to go back and fix a problem that you could have fixed right away when it comes to food. So I'd never skimp on food. That dude was jacked right there.
I know that's
So I'm a proponent of not wasting. Like, don't try to shortcut your food. Don't try to shortcut little things like what shoes you work out in, because it's going to affect the long-term effects of the rest of your body. I do this with all my clients
It's
as well.
just so frustrating, and I'm not a pillar of health, like but I know. Luckily, I was raised by a woman who knew that at a very young age.
Exactly.
Like we came. I was a child. How old are you?
48. I'll be 48 in September.
fucking A.
Yeah.
No shit.
That's for real.
You got the Mickey Mantle genes.
Damn, dude.
Wow.
Look at that dude. That dude is 48. Well, he wasn't in that picture.
Man, 48.
Okay.
So everybody, here's the argument
38.
I would like to say with everybody.
That dude's jacked.
If you're freaking telling me that that exercise is going to wear you down and wear you out, and so Donald Trump,
Can they
I'm
see
just
those?
saying, bud.
Can they see those?
This is what this is.
What's on the screen right now.
This is
Nice.
what 58 looks like.
48.
48.
Jesus. Don't do that to me.
But I totally threw a decade.
Holy shit.
No, he's gonna be 60, folks. He looks this damn good. No, but still, 50. You're pushing 50, and you're stacked, man.
State of mind.
It's
Swear to God.
so
state
cool.
of mind.
I love. Well, it's not how old you are. It's how old you feel. You know?
But so where I was going to go with that, so you'll remember this a little bit better than I'm a little bit older than Matt, not much, and you're a little bit older than me. So, but we came up in the '80s, and in the '80s, what did we see? The big boom of processed foods, fruit roll-ups,
Sunny
kids
D,
meal,
baby.
Sunny D.
Sunny D.
off
Give me
the
that
gut.
Sunny
Like,
D.
It seemed like every week there was
Faster,
some kind of
more
new
convenient.
Burger
kitschy-
King.
But it wasn't even that. I was just. I mean, it was like so many fruit roll-ups. Just sticks in my mind more than anything. But like
Dunkaroos.
variations of those things, right?
Gushers.
And I remember being gushers, and I remember, wanting those things as a kid. All my friends had those things, and sodas became cheap and relatively easy to have. And
Yeah.
my mom was like, "Nope, we're not having that
Yeah.
shit in this house. You don't need that much sugar. There's too much sugar in there. There's you're not." And I'm so grateful that she raised me and my brother that way. That I still have that mindset of like, I don't have a sweet tooth and I don't have a sugar tooth, but like, it just became just like forced down like everybody's throat in that era of now it's just like
consumerism. Yeah, it's just consumerism.
I mean, like sodas.
Well,
to
my
me,
mom-
like when I see kids drinking sodas, I just want
I
to
think
like shake the shit out of their parents and just be like, "What are you doing? Like, don't give that
Drugs.
kid
Look what the
a-
parents
you
do.
know."
Oh, I've seen it too, man.
Ugh.
Good
if you-
drugs.
So Doll, like, she'll get sugar every now and then, but she really only gets like the good, like when it's like at birthday parties
Yeah.
or say.
Birthday cake
And-
is okay.
And the
You're in a
thing
birthday
is
party.
that's when you like do that and then watch your kid. It's cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
Like I
It
remember
It
the
triggers
first
the same
the
part of
first
the
time
brain.
the
You've
first
read
time I
those
started
studies,
like
right?
I'm like
Oh, yeah.
I'm like I've seen that look on college guys I hung with.
It's
Like
the same
it is like you see it and like you're like
the pupils get all
like yeah and
dilated.
like and then the crash and then it's like so it's like and I think I've had to learn that I need to chill out, that I need to let her have those moments and not freak the fuck
You're
out.
wrecking her buzz,
It's so
dude.
tough. I know, but that's just it. But again, I have to be okay with like, okay,
Yeah, every once in a
guidelines.
while.
She has to every once in a
Yeah,
while
she's gonna be fine.
because I live my life in that same boat too.
You should.
Matthew, I'm in. I don't know if you eat the comic The Oatmeal. Great comic, but this guy he talks about and one of the things that he's an avid runner. He does a lot of the endurance run, but the reason why he runs is not so he can be fit or look, it's so he can eat cake.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the idea that it's that like so I'm in that same kind of a
Yeah,
little
me-
bit of that same
me
boat
too.
where it's like I'm gonna enjoy when I do, and
Yes.
but you feel it too. But yeah, food is drugs. Food is
Well, there's studies that show that that when you give kids sugar like that, one can of soda pop, it has the same effect on their brain and releases all of the same chemicals that's released when heroin addicts, they have the exact same.
Cocaine.
I
Yeah.
believe it.
And so like when
Pleasure.
you don't get that repeat high in that buzz and that
Mhm.
addiction, then you've got a much better chance
Turn
of
into
being
a
okay.
dick.
Yeah.
Those kids.
But dude, I like to think that things are turning around a little bit. I really do. Like I
they
like
have
to think
to
that
be.
like I like to think that we're getting a little closer in whether it's eating more food. I always Food Inc. I think was the I can't remember the name of the dude.
That's a good documentary.
Yeah, that's not what I'm
That was
thinking
the
of.
one that opened the floodgates for me.
Man, that'll come to me. I'm sorry, I'm having.
No,
a
what's
brain-
his name? I can pull it up.
Michael Pollan.
Yeah, he did. Did you see the one he did of the food? God dang it!
Didn't
what
they
was
just
it
do
called?
one? Didn't they just do
He
a
did
new
another
one?
one where he
Robert Kenner. What's his name?
Michael Pollan.
Michael Pollan.
Yeah.
Okay, because Food Inc. was Robert Kenner.
Yeah. Again, that's
No,
why I
Michael
knew I was.
Pollan did the one where it was like he looked at food. I think he's been interviewed in a bunch. He's been in a
Lots.
bunch of those.
There it
He
is.
did one where
That's it.
what
American
what's-
author, journalist, activist, UC Berkeley. What did he do? Let's see.
No, but he did a series. It was a documentary.
Omnivore's
series.
Dilemma.
Omnivore.
Oh,
in,
he
in
did.
de-
Oh,
in-
he did.
in defense of food. Is that
No, he did the not chef's table.
Where he looked at all the different
Yeah.
histories of food.
What's that called?
He looked at it was based on the elements. It was
Well,
like
air, water, yeah.
earth, and fire. And it was
Oh,
a great.
what
have
was
you
it
not- have you seen
called?
I
what
don't
I'm
know what
talking
you
about?
guys are talking about on this one.
Oh, hold on. Cooked.
Cooked.
Great
Yes.
documentary
need to see
series.
It's a
I need to
4-part
see it.
series.
Is it good?
And he basically, when he's talking about how he, in his learning of food and writing these books and all this kind of stuff, he realized the theme of like breaking food down into and looking at the anthropology of
Yeah,
food.
Oh,
exactly.
he
of
did
it.
have. He was in food. He worked on food.
Yeah, he's been in
Vanishing
yeah.
Bees, King Corn,
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of them.
Cowspiracy.
But he
That's them.
he basically breaks our food like how we evolved in cooking
Yep.
down into 4 elements of earth, wind, or air, fire, and what's the
Water.
and
Water,
water.
yeah.
And so like the water one, he explores like um, the styles of cooking that involve boiling water and like making curries and soups and stews and things of that nature. And so then he looks at fire and how like that changed everything when we learned how to stick a pig or stick whatever we caught with our spear that day and roast it, how the fire affected and brought out the fats and the flavors and all that kind of. So he spins and he goes
Evolution.
yeah, and he goes and he learns how to like properly like pit smoke a pig from like a pit master in South Carolina, and then the air one is focused on bread, and that's how bread was initially like
makes sense.
and he doesn't just explore like how bread was made. He breaks it down into like why gluten has changed and how it's changed.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
that
like,
new
if
one
you're
that just
eating,
what the
like,
health, the new
yeah,
one that
like
just
if you're
came
eating
out.
like true sourdough bread that's just water, flour, and salt
So good.
that you knead up and then you let it sit and naturally get the natural whatever
Yeah, exactly.
bacteria in the
I love
air and
sourdough.
rise
Yeah,
on its
exactly.
own. That gluten is actually good for you.
Fully sprouted.
Yeah,
Exactly.
good for you. And then the what was it? Earth one was just about the agriculture, learning to grow things.
Mhm.
It is so good.
I'm on it.
The bread one, the air one. I've never wanted to eat a loaf of bread so bad in my life. Like watching him, like oh my god, he like goes to this like expert bread maker, and I mean he's getting these loaves of bread that look like footballs.
Yeah, and
I
it's
mean,
just food.
you can like knock on the crust on them, or it's like knocking on this, But then you crack it open and you see this just like sponge. Oh my god, it's amazing. That guy's, But yeah, watching those documentaries and it's so cliche. And it's like, dude, if you seen this documentary, you also watch this documentary. But like, you can learn. Like that's what kind of got me on the path of trying to eat healthy. I mean, at my heaviest and at my least fit and at my I was at like 215 pounds. I'm tinkering around 190 right now. At my healthiest, I got back down to like 180. And it's not about weight, but I'm just showing like just giving a kind of painting a picture. But watching those documentaries, watching Food Inc. and going, oh man, okay, and then watching Fed Up and then watching there's all kind of Food Matters. There's a ton of great nutritional documentaries. That's what got me, kick-started and going in that direction. And and like you said, it's education that people just don't. They see it's like when I see like fucking organic Cheetos at the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like
Organic
organic
Oreos.
jelly beans, organic. I mean, everything can be labeled organic now, and I just want to like that shit. It doesn't. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say infuriates me.
There's
but I'm
organic
like,
cane
how
syrup.
stupid do you gotta
But
be
you-
to think that there's anything organic about a Cheeto? You know what I mean? Like there's nothing organic about that Cheeto.
That's going back to Michael Pollan. So I brought his name up because in one of his books, the first book that I read by him, and again I can't remember what the hell the name of it was, he made a simple point that when you're going to the grocery store, shop around the outside and work your way in,
Yeah.
because it's basically like I think you referenced it earlier. If you can look at it and it's an actual food from the earth, you're good most of the time. If you have to look at a box, a bag, or look in a freezer and pull something out and look at all the ingredients and you don't recognize the names, it's not food. So if you can just start by the simple education of, if it's food,
Just because you can eat it doesn't mean it's food.
but if you have to look at a box and you have to look and read the ingredients on it, then it's not food. And if you do have to look at a box, or you look at like at a Kind bar, you want to look and see that the ingredients are actual food and that it doesn't have all of the other
Words you can't pronounce.
yeah, I love the word enriched as well. Anything that's been
Yeah.
enriched or infloured, or basically everything's been zapped out of it and artificial stuff has been put back in.
Yeah.
But again, you can make simple life choices by just going around and making sure that that what you're actually putting in your mouth is actual food.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
what's
and
possible.
we were talking about like that the only thing that you have that as an individual you really have control over is what you put into your body. And people and that's the argument that a lot of there's some people that will say, well, it's going to take like government action to change our food system because it's so ingrained in like lobbying, like the sugar lobby is so powerful. Those fast food chains and the people that they got so much control over what's going on and the narrative that's being told to people. So it's not going to change at that level. So and their argument is always going to be like, well, you don't have to eat it. You know,
but again, that's where I think the ground up stuff. You can start to
Yeah.
see where people are seeing all of that and realizing that that's a crock of shit. And now they're actually finding, like, you can go co-op spaces where you can grow your own stuff. Now, I like that we're getting back to that a little bit. I think the awareness is part of it, and I think just by you guys having this stuff, like, you can see it everywhere. There, people are actually having the conversation and getting messages out and getting people to at least rethink about shit. They're like, oh, that's not that hard. I can do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the start of it, is just keeping that out there, because we can bitch about all the systems that we can't change in the oligarchy all fucking day long. But what we really can change is if you can get two people to at least think, oh, I might be able to substitute out freaking goldfish for
carrot sticks.
Yeah, or cashews or
Yeah.
whatever. Anything that's going to provide actual food and give my kids a better option or myself a better option, whatever that is. I think at least we're starting to understand that the food supply system isn't necessarily like looking out for the best choices for the human body. I don't think anyone's probably arguing that based on
And
on
then
what you
when
see.
people go,
The
well, the FDA said that this is good, or this is bad, or this, and I'm a very I don't trust. I'm not a very I don't just blindly believe a doctor just because they're a doctor.
That surprises me.
I don't blindly just believe,
Get outta here.
What people tell me. I'm a little bit of a skeptic.
Come on.
Yeah, I know,
I don't
right?
see that at all.
But like, so I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I love coconut oil.
Yeah.
I use it a lot.
Yeah.
I believe it's a very healthy oil.
Yeah.
I use it a lot. And for a long time, there was this big movement, and everyone was talking about how good it is. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I saw like reports. FDA says that coconut oil. Well, I don't know where this rumor got started that coconut oil is good for you. You should be using vegetable oils or these types of oils. And I'm like, last time I checked, vegetables aren't very oily. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like coconut oil is a better choice because coconuts are, there is a natural oil to the meat of those things. But I could be wrong. But like, there was all and then of course there was this major backlash of going like, they don't know, who funded that study? So what is your opinion on coconut oil?
My opinion is that you're probably going to be fine doing what you've been doing with coconut oil your whole life. I don't think coconut oil is probably the biggest problem that we're facing as far as what we need to do to our food supply. So I wouldn't waste your time on all of like.
Oh, I don't.
reading
I
that
still.
mess.
I mean, but
I think it's moderate.
To be honest,
I think it's a moderation thing. Go ahead.
To be honest, like I saw like the headlines for it and I just kind of giggled and was like, oh, here's the next thing that will go back and forth and be volleyed back and forth. The reality is that your diet is going to be different than my diet, and it's going to be different than your diet, which is going to be different than your wife's diet or your girlfriend's diet or your mom's diet. We all have different dietary needs, and we all digest and process foods way differently than each other. So if coconut oil has been working for you and that's what works, dude, don't listen to fucking 4 different reports.
I don't.
You know that you're wise enough.
Well,
man, to
but
know
I
the
mean-
difference. But what I will say is that if you're like worrying about coconut oil is like tripping over $100 bill to pick up a nickel. Like that has zero relevance on you figuring out how to get your ass to
Sure.
yoga tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just
It really
it's
is.
Adam,
just
what time's
like
the first class tomorrow? Let's find out. Let's find out what the first
yeah,
class at Steadfast.
Too early. I
is.
think they do
Uh,
a 6
you get
o'clock
your
Get
focus
class.
away
get
from the
the-
coconut oil. That's
I mean,
not your issue.
Truth is I could get up and I
Do it
could
yourself.
I could
Yeah.
do it myself.
If you quit reading 3 of those dumbass articles and just go to yoga, you'd be fucking so much happier.
Ooh.
very good point. Very good point.
Schedule.
you're gonna be
Steadfast
But I mean,
and True Yoga.
That's one of those things too that it's there's
And Jillian's
so many.
amazing.
7
Are you
a.m.
kidding me? Ah,
Do
We
you
had
know
her on the
Jillian?
podcast.
you have?
Yeah, she was
Do you know
great.
Jillian?
I know she doesn't even know I exist, but I think she's amazing.
She is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that she is like the shit. I think that she does what she does as well as anybody I know.
I would 100%
Yeah,
agree.
man. Tip of the cap
Um,
to
She was a great cat. You should listen to her podcast.
But
It was a
that's
great.
the-
great
going to.
The
episode.
problem is there's so much just conflicting information about like, well, eggs are bad for you, eggs are good for you. There's good cholesterol, there's bad cholesterol. There's
Do you know the
like,
difference? You
what?
already know the difference
And what?
in eggs. Do you know if eggs are good for you?
I would say that they are.
So yeah, end of topic. Go to yoga tomorrow.
I like that. I like that approach.
You're not
well,
letting.
no,
it
but it's
drop.
not. But don't have too many. If you have 8 damn eggs a day,
Yeah.
if you all you do is if you're eating 8 tablespoons of coconut oil a day,
Yeah, there's probably some cholesterol
if you're,
issues.
yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
there's
where I
some
think
balance and
so-
moderation possibly.
So what you said is find out what it's. You hit it on the different. Everyone's gonna have a different diet. Everyone's gonna react differently. Try things out. If you're maybe take the time to like write out, like take a little
Yeah.
journal of like instead of like what did you like not only what you eat but how'd you feel. I'm now finding like I know today that tomorrow I'm gonna pay for the fact that I went to a Nashville Sounds game tonight and I had a hot dog, and I haven't had a hot dog, a for real hot dog. I haven't had a hot dog in like over a year. I used to eat them all the time, and I'm like most plant-based. I'm gonna feel that tomorrow.
So worth it though when you
So,
knock it
I had a
back, though.
blast.
You had a
I
hot
had
dog
a
at the
blast.
Sounds game today.
It's great. It was fantastic. No, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
You're at a
yeah,
baseball
yeah,
game.
yeah.
You're like but again, situation. I enjoyed it. I wasn't sitting
Own
there
it.
thinking like I'm gonna hate this. But tomorrow, like I know because I've seen now the difference of what's processed meats, stuff like that will make me feel like the next day. I know that my workout probably won't be where it could be had I made just a different choice in that. But I mean, I don't know. I still am gonna really enjoy it. I'm gonna have a blast doing it, and
Oh yeah.
I'll pay for it later.
It's just I'm just trying to talk about this because there's for anybody that might
Lots
be
of
listening
yep.
going like, well, what's the answer? And I mean, I know that the answer is you got to listen
Yep,
to
I
your
get
own
it.
body and all that kind of stuff. But like to me, it's an obvious answer. Like vegetable oil. At one point in time, they were telling us margarine was better than butter. You know what I mean? But now,
Wait, what's that from?
who in the world eats margarine now? You know what I mean? Like, it's just because it got sold to
Exactly.
it got sold that way, and then
Consumerism.
and then back to when we're talking about in the 80s, the big thing was like everything was low fat, but then they put tons of sugar in everything to make it taste
Exactly.
good because they took all the flavor out.
Because fat's awesome.
Yes,
You
it's
know.
called an industry that's just trying to make money.
Yeah.
You know how it works.
It's very and I mean
Confusing, Joe.
It's very
confusing.
Totally. I
It's
get
like
it.
I'm being misled.
Yes.
Yeah. You're being lied
I'm
to
being lied to, and why would they lie to us?
to make money.
Really?
But it's it's just one of those things, and I get kind of wound up about it a little bit because I do know, at least I would say I do know, but that I
You do.
believe we're being fleeced. Like the people American people are being fleeced with our health because to make money.
You know what
Like,
the
there's,
best cure for that is going to be, though? Yoga tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yoga
They
tomorrow
can't
morning.
Yeah,
take
right.
that away
Yeah,
from you.
that's just it.
Yeah.
That's just it. I don't know. I don't know. A little bit every day. Even one sun salutation a day is more than you would have done without having it in there.
And
so.
by the way, I totally get and understand and couldn't. I mean, that is exactly the system is in place. You're just reporting the news,
Yeah.
which I totally get. So, and I really do fall back on, and I do this with my clients who have tons of shit that they want to come in and bring in with reasons why, and it really does just fall back on, like, dude, I totally get that. But I can't change a lobby, a pharmaceutical lobby or a food lobby
You can only change
that is
one
basically
mind at a
4 to
time.
6 corporations. But what I can change is the environment around me.
Yeah.
And so I get to do that with the people that I get to spread this fucking ray of light on.
Yeah.
Whether it's my clients or getting to talk about it like that. And that's what you're doing is by giving information out. So you control the shit that you can control and give people better information to make better choices. Because again, we do have choices, fortunately. And we're lucky enough to have accessibility to those choices. So, dude, I mean, all we can keep doing is try to control the shit that we actually have control
Yeah.
over at this time. This is
Like,
what else you
I
gonna
keep
do?
wondering when they're gonna make like the aspartame, like how long that stuff's gonna still be on. You know what I
There's
mean?
always
Like,
gonna. There's always gonna
Dude,
be
how
the
long
new
cigarettes
next
are
thing.
still around?
That's true. That's true.
Like,
Dude,
and that's the thing is
alcohol.
alcohol. Yeah,
awesome.
alcohol is
It's crazy.
It is crazy, and it's like that's the thing is like fun. I love
awesome.
me
Yeah,
a good
trust me.
beer, have a good time, and everything like that. But it's so horrible for you, and it's so legal. It's so legal.
I'm a proponent that it shouldn't be legal.
Oh, it should be.
just like lots of other
Oh, it
drugs that
should-
aren't legal.
I'm of the idea, and again, it's the same thing: is surround yourself with, educate yourself, make your good decisions. If that's what you really want
Yeah,
to
man.
do, like
me
great.
options.
And the thing is, if you don't make it illegal, you might give someone a chance to actually fix some things and rebound a little bit, as opposed to not having a chance
It
because
is-
they
that is
slipped a little
a
bit.
crazy dichotomy in this world that like alcohol is legal.
Yeah,
The
well,
alcohol
we're a
is-
silly bunch of
is
we're a
legal,
silly
but,
group
like-
of
Do
people.
yourselves
that's
a
for
favor.
sure.
Yeah.
Drive home tonight, and I want you to count how many fast food joints all together
Oh,
that you
yeah.
see on the way
I
home.
could probably.
Like, that shit's legal.
Yeah,
I was-
that too. The sugar,
I was
sugar.
I was telling
period.
Matt like that I was this
awesome.
close to
love
stopping at the Krispy Kreme right down there and bringing in some donuts.
Oh, I
just
would've
'cause-
eaten the ass
just
out of
'cause
those.
like, I thought it would have been funny to have a conversation
my
with
God.
Mr. Fitness over here eating donuts.
Yeah, I would have eaten
I,
those.
I was that close to
You
doing it. I kind
should've.
of wish I had.
And
That
I would've
would've
been all over it.
So funny.
That's great. So what? So Joe, what can we do then to, I guess aside from going to your website and everything, what can people be doing, or what can we do to help spread the word of Powers Fitness Group?
You're doing a great job right now.
Is it fitness group? I mean, how can you be a group if you're just one person? Do you
Everybody
have-
that
do
I
you-
train's part of the group.
Good
Oh,
point.
It's like the living situation.
Yeah, right.
And it really is like, dude, I work with some amazing like change agents in this town. So like it really is a group because I learn as much from them. Like the workouts that we develop, I'm developing it with them. They're pretty much my life coaches, and they're teaching me shit along the way. They really are change agents. So we really are just helping each other like figure out better ways to get our shit done during the day.
So what is
God,
what
I
are
gotta
your what are your qualifications? Like if someone came to you and say, "What are your certifications? Why should I trust you? Why how do you other than just looking the way you do?"
Which is not a qualification
Right.
at all, as
no,
we've
but
discussed.
but you know what I'm saying. Like what how do you
What's like
get,
my actual certification?
Well, now how do you legally say that you're a personal trainer? I mean, like
Oh,
there-
you have to
know what
get
I mean?
certified.
Yeah, but I mean, like what there's
Yeah.
you can get certified in all kinds of different ways. Like, what is your background? Like, what is your resume, so to speak?
I love that it says "crock of poo" on your website. as
God,
one of
that's
your
old.
Quotes.
I gotta update my website.
That's why I need to talk to Westwood Avenue about some of your stuff.
to jump through the hoops to get my certification, I got certified through NASM, which is a pretty credible one. And there's a few credible ones. There's a lot of them that aren't. But I mean, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to get your personal training certification. But I mean, that's one of the requirements that they require of you. But honestly, until you've asked me now, I swear to God, I've maybe been doing this for what 8-9 years now. I've never been asked that question
Really?
until right
no,
now.
one- like,
I almost
what
had-
are your credentials?
I had to think about who the people were that gave me that certification. And you're supposed to go back like every 2 years and get them
Well,
certified.
I mean, I'm just wondering if
But-
there's any like liability issues of with that.
Oh,
you
no,
know what I
because
mean?
I'm,
Like-
no, because I'm certified and I have my insurance and stuff. But what the actual qualifications are actual is the fact of spending so much time like going to yoga classes and learning from instructors,
Sure.
taking as many different courses as you can on how to like taking a TRX, which is a wonderful piece of equipment, taking a certification class and learned how to actually use it. Like, dude, if I could have people that want to do this profession, that would be the one thing that I would say is, I know you got to jump through the hoop and get your academic certification, which again is just another entity that is basically trying to get your money and keep you in the loop and keep
Right.
revenue coming in without them having to do shit. And I get where they need to have you certified, and they need to have some sort of thing, but the reality is you're going to learn by learning from the industry around you because it's evolving so fast, and staying on top of what is again trendy shit. That's just another studio that's opened up to try to make money, but are they really offering their clients a benefit, or are they just open and trying to get the turnstiles turning and make money? And real trainers that want to get it, they're going to get it by living the lifestyle and actually going out and trying disciplines outside of your own. So I came from a baseball, football background, so I had an athletic background, and I understood how to train people in that criteria, but I didn't know shit about yoga. I didn't know shit about Pilates. I didn't know shit about kickboxing.
Right.
Learning all of those disciplines not only like gave me like, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to structure this within a program, but it taught me also how I could learn from them on how they talk, how they are using their words to get their information across so that the other person receives it,
Right.
understands it, and then can move their body appropriately. I can't get that shit in an ASM class. I'm going to learn the difference between a hamstring and a quad, but I'm not going to learn the difference on how to connect with another human being and apply what they need because I have the experience of doing a bunch of different crafts. And I think the people that can go out and actually have an understanding of how to connect with different types of people and use their words and be able to set up programs for people, they're probably going to have more success because they're going to have a wider background of religions under their database and tools in their toolbox to use so that they can create better programs.
Yeah, that
But-
effective communication is a big thing.
Huge thing. I'll use one last analogy. You guys are music guys, so you'll appreciate this, and I use it all the time. Ultimately, when people come into my space, like I'm literally the producer of the song. They're like the talent that are coming in. I have all the instruments with all the different tools. I know I have an idea based on where they're at in their program with me, kind of what the tempo of the song is going to be. Is it going to be a really fast, hardcore hip hop song because meaning I'm using the analogy where I need to move their asses a lot so they need to
Right.
burn a bunch of calories because that's where they're at?
Or is it a slow jam?
Or is it going to be more of where we go station to station and we do more resistance training and then mix in a bunch of boxing and rowing in between, where then it's got your ups and downs and the volume of the song changes. So when they come in, I may have a song in mind and I can come in and I can tell they're had a shitty day and that tune needs to change immediately. So then I'll take the same equipment or the same instruments, and that song is we may start out as a slow song until they get their brains right, and then I can kind of flow them from behind. But really all we're doing is they're creating the music with the energy and attitude they come in, and I'm kind of playing off of where they're at. And the more tools I have in my toolbox with all the different things that I've been able to experience being old, I can actually then use that so that I can use that in the song to make a more a full song that they're actually going to be able to get all the points that I want to get them into, but they're actually leading it because they're on the ones that are singing, and they're on the ones that are on the floor singing and dancing. Like they really are the talent. And I'm just trying to throw in, slow down a little bit here. Let's work on XYZ on your form here. Now let's pick it up and let's hit 10 of these combos as hard as we can go, and then we'll slow them back down. So all I'm controlling is the rhythm and what equipment I want them to use based on what body parts we're trying to work at the time.
Yeah.
I love it. Man,
It's
that's a
just-
great
just a song.
analogy.
It's just a song.
You got some energy.
Thank you.
You can
I love talking about this shit.
you
I
can-
really do.
Yeah.
It's passion, man.
Yeah.
It comes through.
You got some mojo.
I got those little kid eyes after
It's fun.
Fired
chopping
up,
a
man.
pixie stick. All the eyes rolled back. I got all. Nah.
Man, I'm gonna
But I
have
do
to.
love it.
I might
You
do
need to
a
come
pu-
check.
I might do a push-up tomorrow.
Oh my god.
There you go, man. Start with one. You got to start with one. You know what the best? You know what? Once you do one, the best part is you
You
get to
can't
do
do
another
100
one
until
right
you do
after.
one.
That's right. That's right. You can do it right afterwards. I'm gonna have to, man, Joe. I'm gonna have to find some time to carve out with you. That I think definitely spending some time with you would definitely help.
We'll do
My
one,
workout, yeah.
and I'll
It'd be fantastic.
Again, think of it like going into the studio and we're just doing a jam session, and I'm listening.
You
to
sold me
sing.
on that.
Yeah,
You
it's-
sold me
seriously,
on that.
you'll love
analogy. You sold me before the early thing, but it's a long time coming. That now I think that it would benefit me to that point. And
Yeah.
I think it'd benefit anybody.
Yeah.
That if you're in the Nashville area and you're looking for, or you're coming into town and you want to hang out and you're in the Gulch, they can just go to your website, find ways there to sign
For
up,
sure.
to make an appointment with you and everything like
For
that.
sure.
And see what works.
And even if it's not with me, find somewhere to go move.
Just do a push up.
Yeah, man.
So what?
Do some Pilates.
There has been
Dance.
countless,
Yes. Play.
countless
Play.
fitness trends
Yes.
since Jane Fonda got the what was her big thing? What she
Sweating to the oldies?
No, what'd she start?
that was
mean,
Richard Simmons.
Yeah, but there's been
Didn't she?
There's been what was the thing that she like?
By the way, I
pioneered?
just got done binge watching Grace and Frankie. Don't judge me, because it was really good.
Grace and Frankie's
oh my
hilarious.
God, Jane
I haven't watched
Fonda
the
is
second
so
season. I haven't
sexy.
seen this. I haven't seen the
Jane
second
Fonda,
season
what
yet.
did she
Love
do?
her. So
But
much
what-
respect.
No, she
All right, hit me.
what was she responsible for like her thing?
This is
that
the
she
first
came-
one that came out with like aerobic videos.
Yeah,
back
but
then.
okay, so there's been tons of fitness.
Jazzercise.
There's
Yeah,
been
man.
jazzercise. There's been what was the
What's been your favorite?
well,
Tybo.
That's what
You were going
Tybo.
Tybo.
I was gonna say
Tybo.
Tybo. There's been Suzanne Summers had the
What was that? The Thigh Master.
Thigh Master. You
That's
got
not a
the-
workout though. That's
no,
just
no.
a machine
Shake
they were trying
You
to
weight.
got the
sell.
what's the
Shake
dude
weight's
with
mine.
with the ponytail?
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
You
Tony,
can do it.
Tony something.
Tony. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony
I mean,
Antelope or
you know,
something.
Tony
He's a gazelle.
Antelope,
Tony
it's-
Gazelle.
yeah. It was
Isn't that his
Gazelle.
name?
No,
Isn't
but
that
he
his
had
name?
like a gazelle thing. Like
The
was one of
gazelle.
his-
That was
I
the
mean,
machine.
that was the machine that he was.
You're
You
conflating-
can do it.
You're conflating workout trends with now just shit that's got
I
soul.
love
Well,
pop
but
culture,
then
just
there-
pop
there's-
culture
there's
now.
There's been Zumba. There's been
Roomba,
there's
Zumba.
Zumbas. There's been there's so many.
Shake
so
weight's still
many
the best. Shake weight,
That's
man.
not that
Shake weight.
piece
Does that
of-
not
That wasn't
count?
a
That
workout
doesn't
trend.
count.
That's
That's
just
not
a
a
piece-
trend. That's just a
That,
piece
this
of
That's
is,
equipment.
okay,
entertainment.
so this is separate. Okay,
That's
so
just a quality piece of equipment.
you've
That's
kind of
just some
inspired.
guys messing
You've
around.
kind of inspired two questions now. So, of all the crazy fitness trends,
Yes.
what's been like one of your favorite ones? That's actually like you would, you know what I mean? Like you're kind
got
of like,
something
okay,
out
there's
of it.
something. Yeah, there's something there to that one. And I'm sure there's something to all of them because you're moving or whatnot. But like,
I
I
really do
mean,
believe that. Whatever your religion is, I like all the religions. If it makes somebody that wasn't going to get up and move today
Right.
get up and move, I don't give a shit whether it's bar classes, whether it's spin classes. Now they morph them all. Like, they have like soul cycles. They're all just more, again, it's all music. You're
Yeah.
finding out that there's this type of music, and then like, oh yeah, we can blend those two musics together.
okay, so just on a superficial, like on the top, just off the top, like what would be one of your favorite ones? Like what's one that you just
Like a real one, or you
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
look on your face like
no,
you want me to
just-
say like a
just-
cheesy
no,
one.
just yeah, I do. I absolutely want you to say a cheesy one.
I'm trying
like,
to think now. I'm
like,
trying to
what-
come up with
what's-
something
what's
clever.
What's a fitness trend that you just like? Man, that was an awesome era.
Oh my
of
god!
fitness.
Well, I'll have to give like a snarky answer because I haven't thought my clever answer out. But I will tell you that CrossFit has changed the game a lot, which I like.
Sure.
I like that that MMA fighting has changed the way that people work out a lot. That's a big one because a lot of the shit that I do now, and I use a lot of performance training, and again, I can do it with anybody. Because you can blend it in there, but the way that that MMA mixed martial arts fighters do their training methods,
Yeah.
I implement a lot of that shit, and especially with my women because they love it because it's empowering.
Yeah.
You're learning skill sets. You're getting amazing cardio while you're moving your body in various ways. That's been a big one. All the martial arts stuff, which isn't really new, but now that it's kind of got a little light with the UFC, I think a lot more people are doing it, and you have like your hot boxes, and you've got like your title boxing. I love that all those trends are picking up and taking off.
Yeah.
I think the soul cycles are great. I think all the bars are great. And again, I love that yoga is taking off. And again, and maybe it's just in my world because it's new to me, but I love that it's taking off for men. If I could get dudes to do anything, it would be implement yoga into
Aubrey
your
Marcus.
life.
Dude,
It's
I-
gonna,
bringing
it
it
will
big into,
change
yeah.
your life, man.
I
It's
I
such a
thought
good
the same thing,
workout.
but like
It's such a
had that
different
same-
mindset
yeah.
than what dudes think it's going to be. Like
The
again,
primary series will whoop your ass.
It's,
Yeah,
and
we're-
it's such a good
Will
compliment.
whoop, yeah.
And it'll change your
Yeah.
body. It will
Mhm.
literally tighten
Yeah, it's
you,
awesome.
lengthen you, and jack you out. So if you really are in there for just the appearance, like it's gonna lean and lengthen you. But it has so many other benefits. Like so, there's a couple right
I love
So
yoga.
speaking of MMA, you watching? You gonna watch the fight this weekend?
Here's the
I
deal.
want to watch. I
I'm
want
torn.
to watch that
I
fight
can't
so
vote- I
bad, but
can't
I
vote
do
for that.
not want to
I
pay
can't.
for it.
I can't vote for that. Yeah, I can't give them my money.
I can't. Me neither.
If you do,
'cause
then if you go give them their money, you can't bitch about sugar ever again because then you are giving up to the system that you know is.
Oh,
I
fucking-
just
yeah.
want to find. I mean,
No,
but what
it's
about
the
if
people,
I?
it's
What
the
if you
people
went
who
in
do
with, like,
complain that it was a short fight, or it's like,
Yeah.
sorry, bud.
You
You
know, I want to
know.
find someone with maybe like a group of people and all chip in like $10.
Well, what about
So-
so there's some places in town too that you pay a flat fee. You can
Yeah,
go
I
in.
don't want to
you
go
can
to
I wanna see
Buffalo
it for
Wild
the-
Wings.
Dude.
you go to Buffalo Wee Wee.
I don't want to
Some
go to
Buffalo
Buffalo
Wee
Wee
Wee.
Wees.
You throw a tiger and a shark into the sharks home habitat. I'm gonna watch that shit all day, but
Yeah,
I
right?
can't vote for that though because I can't encourage that nonsense.
You
just-
think it's nonsense?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you, why is it, why like well I mean
I
as
re-
opposed to if it was just a big UFC fight or a big title
And
boxing fight.
when I say
or just-
nonsense, by the way, like I think like if they can promote that shit and there's tons of people that'll watch it, they are doing the right thing. If you're both
Yeah.
those fighters, why would you not do
Right.
that? So I applaud them for
Sure.
for doing.
so you
that.
think it, but you don't think it's going to be a good like? Do you think it's going to be a good fight?
Do you know? Do I? I have
Like
n-
I'm
I
not a
have
big
no
fighter guy, but
idea.
this is
He just said he can't weigh in.
I have no idea if it's going to be a good fight. Here's what I
Yeah.
think is going to happen. I don't know how. I can see both sides of this because I see Conor McGregor having at least a unique advantage of Floyd Mayweather never having to understand that type of footwork that that MMA fighters have because it's not going to be a boxing setup. How he's going to come in and how he's going to try to get space and come in and out. I don't know. If his cardio will be better or worse, but I know that that's probably going to be an issue because if he's smart, he knows that he's probably not going to outpoint him, and he's going to have to land heavy shots. And if he really does take this seriously, and they're going in and doing combat, you can see simply how Floyd is just a magician with how defensively he's only has so many stances, and everything comes out of those 3 or 4 stances, his offense and his defense.
He
It's
knows how to
gonna-
not get hit.
It's going to be way more interesting than most people think because it really is kind of a chess match to see how can Conor McGregor
Yeah.
use his size and use what he does have with his
And
one
his
weapon.
youth.
Yeah, exactly. So I
And
don't
he
know.
punches like a
I don't know.
freight
But
train.
do I think it's probably going to be after the first 4 or 5 rounds? Do I think that it's probably going to be quality? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
hope that it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
For both of them, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a negative stake in the claim. I just
I hope
I
it
just know
goes
that-
down as like the greatest boxing match ever. They just get in there and like he takes it to Floyd, and Floyd gives it right back. I mean, I would love for it to be like at the end of the match, being like, okay, that was epic.
What I'm just curious to see is, again, you can take one of the baddest tigers in the jungle.
Right?
Can that translate to the shark in the fucking sea?
No, 'cause
so
tigers
that's what we're
can't
gonna
swim.
find out. That's what we're gonna find out.
Find
So
out.
It'd be
my
more like a tiger
curiosity-
versus a
Find
gorilla.
out.
So think about it. Like every great fighter is this much less than Floyd Mayweather in his era. Like
Yeah.
a dude that's never ever had a professional boxing match on those rules. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm
it's gonna
curious
be-
to
yeah.
see.
It's interesting.
I wanna-
Social
I'm-
experiments.
I'm really curious to see
Yeah.
the skill sets and how they mesh together.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I know how it's going to go out, and it's going to be probably pretty boring because Floyd Mayweather's not going to take a bunch of chances. Conor doesn't have to worry about getting knocked out. I'm guessing, but I'm guessing Floyd hits with enough fucking power that
He
he's
hadn't
not going to
knocked
want to keep
out
getting
too many
punched.
people in his
Yeah, not in
career.
the last like 4 or 5 years.
And-
And I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow either, or Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Oh,
And,
it's
and I've
Saturday.
seen clips of Mayweather taking one.
Yeah, I
taking
just
some
don't want to give.
shots
I just
and
don't want to
not-
give either of those guys my money.
No,
That's it.
I'm with you on that. I'm 100. That's what I'm saying. I want to watch it for free.
But yeah, if it was a good, if it
How
was
can
a,
I watch that match for free?
If it was a good UFC lineup card where there were 3 or 4 good
Yeah.
matches, and then I'd buy.
Did you watch any? Did you watch any of the press conferences and stuff? That
No.
spectacle.
I love-
No,
They're
that energy
hilarious.
does me no good.
It was so insane, man.
I
if
see-
it was a match based on
See,
shit talking,
I look-
McGregor
it's-
won 5
It's fucking,
times.
it's cotton candy, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
that's exactly
it's
right.
entertainment. I look at it, it's
It's
like
empty
sugar,
sugar.
sweet. Yeah,
It's
oh
empty
yeah,
sugar.
It's doing no, but at the same time, there's like I'll probably watch it the same way, the fight the same way I've watched those, where I'll watch the highlight reel afterwards.
Yeah.
Me too.
But it's like you get it. But some of it, yeah, it's
I can't.
entertainment. As an entertainer, I look at it and go,
Dude, they're good.
that's some pretty good.
Both
They know. And that's the thing
And
is
they
like
know the-
they hate each. Sure, they have that. They're going into that where they're going in to fight each other, so they have that. But I think really deep down, like they both are like, let's both make
Let's-
some
let's
fucking
bang.
money.
They went-
Let's
Absolutely.
make some money.
They went into
Yeah.
that agreement before they ever
Yeah.
started
Yeah,
the
I
tour.
get it.
I mean,
They-
that's-
I don't know. Entertainment.
no losers
I
in that
like
thing.
it. Yeah, I like it.
There
I
was-
think it's
and I can't watch it. But I mean,
Yeah.
that energy doesn't do me any good.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
They use all the normal socio slurs that are going to get everybody
Yeah.
fired up and
Oh, yeah.
keep the headlines going.
Dude,
So I'm not buying in on that.
I'm with you on that. I just would love to watch it for free. That was the one quote when he was saying when Mayweather said, "Oh, I'll fight you in the octagon," and Mayweather's like, No, you wouldn't.
No.
I'd fucking kill you.
Yeah,
Like
buddy.
Yeah.
Mayweather wouldn't
It's-
stand a chance.
And again, this
Not
is
a chance.
Dude, it's just a
in
whole
an
different.
MMA
There's
fight.
too many
Yeah.
different dimensions. One's like
Yeah.
checkers and one's like chess, and that's not to diminish the science of what. It's just so many different dimensions that there is no way to train for all of those
Sweet science.
all of those wrestling disciplines and all of those jujitsu
Yeah.
disciplines take years because there's so many transitions out of those that you don't just figure that out in 2 years. Like
No.
that's a lifetime of figuring out how
Yeah,
all those.
there was no way this fight would happen the other way around.
Mm,
Like,
That's not
No
safe.
way.
That would not be safe.
No,
No.
Mayweather's not. No,
No, it wouldn't be safe at all. That's a career ender. No doubt. So, Joe,
Yes, sir.
hamburger, pizza, or hot dog?
round and third.
I'll
so
take
we're
all of them.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I thought that was in order.
No.
you got to pick one.
Pick one.
Pizza. It's
Where's
easy.
your favorite place to get pizza in town?
Oh man, that's so good.
In town.
Man, that's so good. I love me some mafiosas.
No.
I love me some.
Not in East Nashville. We're talking to a Gulch guy.
wait.
He's not
Yeah.
going across the river for pizza.
That's true. Where do I need to go?
You can go where-
Almost everybody we've asked this to has said 5 Points.
Yeah, they all
Yeah,
say
so
five.
5
yeah,
Points
I
is
just
good
never
pizza
get
in East
there.
Nashville.
And I've been
I
there.
like
Yeah, me
Mafiosa's
too.
pizza.
Me too.
I really do. A lot.
And I should give them a shout out because they're over on Music Circle, and I can never remember the name of them.
Desano's.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, that
Mhm.
place is good.
There you go.
That's good pizza.
Yeah.
I'll go there.
What else you got?
So, do you want to do your next one? Or
Oh, the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure
Yep.
or Karate Kid.
Karate Kid for sure.
Yeah.
yes, you
Is
got
that the right
one.
answer?
First
You
person.
got
No, you're just the
The
first,
first
person
person.
to answer to pick Karate Kid.
I know. Don't ask me why.
Before it was Back to the Future and Karate Kid, and Back to the Future was getting
Every
just
ti- yeah,
every
wins every
time. And so
time.
I changed it and I said, okay, what's another time travel movie?
That's
Bill and
funny.
Ted's. So the follow up question is, since you picked Karate Kid,
It's funny.
is have you ever been punched in the face?
Yeah.
Have you ever punched somebody in the face?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
Not proud. I'm not proud of the second part of that.
Yeah.
First one I-
sometimes
first
you
one I
gotta-
You're
probably had
proud of
coming.
getting. You had it coming. Okay, at least
Sometimes.
you
No,
earned
it
it.
all shit happens, man.
At least you earned it.
I've never been punched in the face.
Now you do a lot of like
I-
boxing
I
stuff. It's
don't-
bound to
I don't-
happen.
I don't
Been
want to
punched in the back of the head.
I'll tell you what.
I
Here's
don't-
what's
I
interesting.
have too, but not in the
That
face.
sucks.
When you get punched in the face when you're doing like boxing and stuff,
Yeah.
it really is a wake up call. Then your ego goes down because you're immediately violent. But again, playing sports, like
Sure.
you learn how to channel that violence, especially like football. So like when you immediately get punched, even though if it's a drill and it's with somebody who were friends and you actually get popped in the face, that sting and that pain immediately makes me like crazily violent. And to be able to like put that back down and be like, oh shit, I just got hit in the face, and
Yeah.
to be okay with that, I think everyone should have to get punched in the face because it really will.
I don't want to be punched in the
It
face.
really will,
I've never
like,
been. I want to go to my grave.
Your ego goes down, and you're just like, all right, I got punched. I
Yeah.
didn't die. It didn't hurt. It's just a punch in the face. Now I can move on. It makes life way easier. It makes shit way easier to deal with.
Joe, I'm too pretty to get punched in the face.
I
man.
will agree with that.
I don't want to. I don't want to mess. This is everything I have. I owe to this
That
face.
It's
money-
like you
that's-
got a few hits. You could take a couple punches and still maintain.
Yeah,
that-
I would like to think that I could take a punch, but I don't want to test the waters.
Oh, me either. It sucks.
I've never.
No, keep the money maker. I'd keep that money maker clean if you can. Don't you think?
It's insured. It's
What-
insured.
Wait, is this all? We got more questions? Because I like this little.
No,
we do
um,
got another question.
Yeah.
What was the
Tell us about. Okay, so it's your last day in Nashville. You're bouncing. You're leaving town for a while.
Yeah.
Tell us about what a great day
what's
you're
Joe
gonna have on
Powers'
your last day.
perfect day?
What's your great day? Your last day in Nashville.
Depends. Where am I going?
Yeah, wherever you
Doesn't
want.
matter.
Tell us.
If I'm going to the beach, my
You-
last day in Nashville.
No. What you're leaving Nashville?
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
You're going away
so
for a while.
Tell us, tell the
You're-
people listening, okay, so what are you gonna do on your last day? And it can be where are you gonna go eat? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna go see? What band are you gonna go see? Where are you gonna go see them? You can do whatever you want in Nashville. But
Your
what?
perfect day.
yeah,
I'm not hitting any. I'm not hitting any of my usual suspects that I've done the whole time that I lived here. I'm not going to do anything that I've done in the past. I'm going to get up. I'll probably go for a workout, and then and I'll probably smoke a big fat bowl, and then I'm going to go, and then. And then I'm gonna go take
you
a
go.
tour like it was my first day in Nashville. And I'm gonna take as many tours as I can take, and
That's
I'm gonna
good.
do as much shit that I didn't do in Nashville that I should have done.
You're gonna hit the honky
before-
tonks.
Yeah. Oh well, I've done that, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend the whole day just being high and traveling like I'm a tourist, and I've never been here for one day.
I love
I'm
That's
gonna-
awesome.
and then I'm gonna finish with some concert, maybe down at the amphitheater, and call it a day. But I would do all the shit that I didn't do that I should have done.
That's a good
Yeah,
answer.
that's a great answer.
Thank you.
He said, "I'm gonna get stoned."
Stoned and go.
You guys said I
Shit.
was gonna get stoned. I said I'm
Yeah.
gonna smoke a
A
bowl.
bowl.
I want
There's a big difference. There's a
Nice,
big
even
difference.
keel, just to keep Papa happy.
Cool.
I love it.
It's fantastic.
I love that Mr. Fitness. That was his answer. He said, "I'm gonna go for a workout, and then I'm gonna get stoned."
No, he didn't say that.
Whatever.
He
It's the
says-
same thing.
No,
Not
there's a
Ain't- you're
difference.
nobody's smoking a bowl and not getting stoned.
I don't know.
No.
There's a difference thing there. But anyway, that's a whole nother
Yep.
podcast,
See you
I would
next- See you
think.
next week.
Yeah, right.
And we've hit, man,
Wow.
wow, a little over 2 hours here. We're like
Boom, bada,
2:16.
bam.
So
Joe, it's been a pleasure meeting you, man.
Dude, you were
It's
great. Pleasure.
I was
Thanks.
it's fun
it's
times.
been fun.
Seriously?
No,
Yeah.
so
You guys say that to all the boys and girls?
Yes.
pretty
Alright,
much because
I like
we've
it.
had a good success rate of a lot of really cool people on here. So thanks for just entering into the,
Dude, I'm
entering
honored.
into that, the annals of Matt and Adam Cannot Be Stopped history.
I'm
But
honored.
there have been times that the conversation has dragged. Not tonight.
I was
I'm
gonna
just
be
saying.
like, no,
on
that's
other
that one's on
guests-
me.
No, I'm saying other. I mean, there's time. It's an ebb and flow. Conversation is like a
Nah,
workout.
you guys are awesome.
Sometimes you have good workouts,
Nah,
and
man.
sometimes you have
Not
bad
so
ones.
much.
Dude, thank you. Seriously, thank you guys for having me on, and I
Mm.
appreciate you guys are like pulling like real subject matter out that's like interesting to talk about. I appreciate you guys, and dude, you guys kill it.
And we appreciate you watching us live here on our first
First
ever
one.
YouTube.
Live.
I know there's
oh.
we're gonna go back, we're gonna do some editing because I know there's some glitches and all that kind of stuff, but bear with us. Next week's gonna be probably flawless. I don't know, but we're doing really good. I think in general, I'm really happy. This was episode 26, and we're
I
looking
like that
forward
you
to.
can pull stuff up on the thing
This
now.
is great.
We're moving along.
That's
we're growing
great.
up. We're
Yeah.
doing fun things.
Yep.
So, and again, follow us on go to mattandadam.podbean.com. You can go just check us out on iTunes for all the old episodes, and now on YouTube, you're gonna be able to check us out here. Keep up with us. We're enjoying it, and we're just gonna keep doing it. So again, Joe Powers, thanks for coming down and having a good time with us. And until next time, folks, we'll see ya. Good stuff.
I can't believe we got a graphic now. That's
And Joe. They can't see us dance anymore when the thing's over.
know that we're dancing.
And Joe.
That was great shit, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's fun. Cannot be stopped. Have fun, everybody. Good night, and we will see you all next time.